She grew up in an Indiana town, had a good-looking mama who never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up bright with the Indiana boys on the Indiana nights. Wish I had my harmonica right now.
That would have been amazing if you did that. Oh, man, that was great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for opening up the show that way, David.
My pleasure.
Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
A little bit of a trek for you, no?
3
Tiny
hours.
bit of a trek.
3 hours.
Not too bad.
No, it was good.
Ontario's a small province.
One flat road the whole way.
Yeah.
Welcome. Okay, so on my right, I've got Keith, and on my left, I got David, right? And Scelta. We're going to talk about Scelta, but we're also going to talk about Young Electric as well, too, right?
Yep.
We're going to talk a lot of interesting things about what you started, I guess, not long, like a little
11
less
months
than
ago.
11 months ago.
Yeah.
Wow, eh? And what was the brainchild? Like, what was that point that you all of a sudden saw something needs to be done?
Well, working with a general contractor for 3 years right out of school, I was used to doing everything online. And then when I actually got to site and I started using pen and paper and notepads and sticky notes and
Because that's how site was doing it.
yeah, and
Every site does that.
Clipboard.
that's the way I was taught to do
Yeah,
things, right?
yeah.
And I'll explain it in a story. But when COVID hit, we used to have lineups on site waiting to sign in on the pen and paper sheet right in front of the site.
I remember those days.
Right, so we have lines of 50 contractors, right, all lined up at the beginning of the day. It would take us an hour to transition all the contractors onto the construction site at the condo building. So what I did was I was like, guys, why don't we put together a QR code? So we littered the fence with QR codes. So all the guys would then walk to site, scan the QR code, sign in, and it went from an hour to 10 minutes, right? So that was the start of sort of the catalyst moment of, there are many things in construction that we can automate, and I could help the company that I'm working at. And we spent a couple of years implementing those technology tools. And then it got to the point where I thought I could broaden my audience to many general contractors and took a leap of faith 11 months ago. And here we are today.
Here we are right now.
Yeah.
So let me share the deets here. So I got David Mill here from Scelta, and it's www.scelta.app. And you want me to share the phone number, yours? Is that your cell or anything?
My cell.
I always ask just in case, even though I've done the stupid thing of putting my number on the notes. And I love all the marketing calls that I get and all the crap that I get. 226-387-6758. His email is dmill@Scelta. It's spelled SCELTA.ca.
Yeah.
That's right. And then on IG, it's Scelta.app and also on LinkedIn. And then got Keith Young here. Young Electrical Services. Young Electrical Services. Hot? No.
.ca.
.ca. Sorry. Oh, you wrote dot.
Yeah, that.
.ca. Number? You want me to give up the number?
They can just go to the Instagram.
That's
or
what I
the
thought. Okay,
website.
Keith at youngelectricltd.ca, and it's
up
young
close.
electric _. Find him on IG and also LinkedIn, and there's a YouTube channel as well too. Young Electrical Services Ltd. Quick shout out. I'm wearing Chris Carpenter Co. His hoodie that he gave me, which is great. Thank you so much. I'll wear your swag on a future show. I like wearing. If you guys get a chance, peek underneath the table. It's literally winners down there. It's like full of
Nice.
all kinds of stuff down there. I also want to do one more shout out to the great folks at Tools in the Trades boot camp. I'm very impressed that they've finally accomplished 190 boot camps and still growing. So they're doing amazing work. They're inviting more and more people into construction. So everybody, I encourage you to go to www.toolsinthetrades.ca and email them at bootcamp@toolsinthetrades.ca. Okay. All right. So I like that you started this app because from what little I know about it, it's going to be beneficial if you're a contractor, right? Just hands down. So you're a tradie, so you've seen it, you've worked with it. So how long you been at it now, working with it?
How long has Young Electric been on it? We've been on it for
5 months.
Yeah, 5 months. And we had a little bit of a trial period for both of us. I think David was trying to get his feet, under him with the app, and we were, kind of trying to figure out if it's what we wanted. So we had a break-in period. But I mean, hardcore, like full on. I think the company's been basing day-to-day operations on Scelta for 5 months.
So I guess 2 questions. Was it easy for you, and was it easy for the crew? Because I don't know if it's the same answer.
So it's the original conversation when one of my office guys says, "Hey, this guy, he called me, says he has such and such." I'm like, "Yeah."
So you guys didn't know each other, right?
No.
Knew of each other,
Okay, yeah.
just through previous contracts and contractors. But so my office guy, he kind of gives me the pitch. Yeah, he says he could do this, he could do that, and my usual was like, "Yeah, cool. Well, yeah." sounds great. Haven't heard that
You've
before,
heard it.
right?
Like, I think every tradesperson in
Yeah,
construction
so
has
it's
heard
like,
this.
and he's like, I don't know. He said he just wants to come see us. I said, no problem. Schedule a meeting, have him come to the shop. And then, I mean, it took David probably 20 minutes to sell me on it. And I've been in the trade a long time. I've done.
You get sold all the time.
I've
That's the
done,
thing
but I've
about
done
it.
most of my career in life has been pen to paper.
Yeah.
I mean, very minimal. Short of an email, I mean, everything else was pen and paper, right? Time cards, time sheets, pen and paper.
2x4s.
Everything. Yeah, right? Like, but yeah, honestly, it took me 20 minutes. And I mean, I'm not saying David's a salesman, but he showed me firsthand how it would work. And I said, listen, if you can make it do exactly what you're telling me, let's give it a shot. And he said, it'll do this.
So, David, what's your construction background?
So I worked in construction for 3 years with a large general contractor who worked on multi-residential projects and hotels.
Okay.
So I've done 4 condo projects and a Holiday Inn, and that's pretty much the basis of my construction experience
That's
over
a
3
lot,
years.
man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had great mentors, great teachers at the company I was at. I still keep in touch with them to this day. And they know about my tools and they know about the company and they're very supportive of it. So I'm grateful for that. Great site supervisors who had been in the trade for 30 years. You know, we had a rocky start with a few of them. A kid coming from school telling him, hey, I got this new tech opportunity for you. It's going to make our life way easier.
They've heard it over and
And
over.
they're like,
Sure, kid.
yeah. And, but once we got over that hump and I listened, you had to listen, right? Because a lot of times people will come and pitch you on things and say, this is the way it's going to be. But we took a totally different approach. We just sat there and listened. We just asked questions.
I was just curious, Dave, did you see more or listen more? You know what I mean by that? Because from your years of experience, the same with you, Keith, probably the same thing. Like, we see it every day. Like, we see where there's holes in the efficiency of construction. And so I'm just wondering, did you see it more or did you listen more to develop this further, right?
Well, it actually started with the customers themselves. So the people who would buy the condos from us.
Tradespeople.
The end user.
The end user.
Really?
So it started with them because when they would come into our showrooms, we would show them a whole stack of samples and paper that would say, hey, these are your upgrades. These are your selection options. And I was tasked with meeting with those owners and helping them through that process. And we would sit there for hours going over, here's your carpet, here's your hardwood, here's your cabinet finish, here's your handle. And I thought, this is a long, strenuous process. And at the time, I was playing around with car configurators. I thought, there's got to be a way for us to have a home configurator. So I put a few friends of mine together who were in software development at university. I said, hey, let's build a configurator for homes. And we ended up building one that gave you a 3D virtual reality setting of your future home. So you can go around, touch the walls, touch the floors, touch the cabinets, and they would change color based on the builder's preferences that were being offered. And once I saw them go from the struggle, and actually I went through it with my own family, with my grandmother, my nonna. She was downsizing from a 2-story home to a ranch.
Okay.
And I remember sitting in showrooms with her, and she would whisper to me in Italian, like, you know, I have no Scelta, which means choice.
Yeah.
Hence why I named the company after her, because when I showed her the tool, and I was like, this is your future ranch, this is your future home, and when she saw it, her face just lit up. And she went from tears to now a big smile on her face. And then I asked my boss, hey, do you mind if we use this for the next few condos we build? And I showed him the tool. He gave me his blessing, and we ended up using that tool. And just seeing everyone's reaction, we eliminated all the paper. So as soon as the customers would come on, they would pick their finished selections. It would create an automated summary for the owner, as well as for a scope of work for the subcontractor. So now my job was sort of obsolete because I no longer had to do the paperwork for the customer or the paperwork for the subcontractor. So it's kind of my way of making my job a lot easier.
Smarted yourself out of a job.
Yeah, but the data of it was we were saving all that time, but we were also making far more profits on the entire project as a whole. Because now our project managers didn't have to sit down with customers and spend their valuable time picking out selections. And on the flip side, the customers were willing to spend more on their upgrades because they could actually visualize them. So instead of me offering you, Manny, a $7,000 fireplace on a piece of paper, I'm going to show you that fireplace in your finished home with the trim, with the wall paint, with the tile. And then you're going to say, you know, that looks pretty good. I'm actually willing to spend that $7,000. So we had a couple 100% increase in spending in addition to the couple 100 hours we saved.
So you were discovering that it was the way that the options were explained to the end user that was consuming time.
And displayed. Explained
The
and,
way they were
and
displayed.
displayed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when she saw it, it made sense to her, even though she was watching it on a digital pad.
Yeah. Well, a big example was a handle. So picking out cabinet handles is not an easy feat, right? So I would sit down with her and I'd show her 10 handles. She's like, how can I pick a handle? I can't even see my cabinets. So then I created a 3D virtual reality setting of her cabinets and just cycled through 4 or 5 handles. And as soon as I was able to do that, she's like, that's the one.
That's the one that I want.
And then...
And why can't you just convert that to other widgets that belong in construction, right?
Yeah. And so we did. Accent walls, fireplaces, barbecue outlets, plugs, light fixtures, under cabinet lighting, countertop options.
Yeah. I mean, the model you showed me, I remember vividly that you were even able to change the color of the light. So you can go 3K, 4K.
The temperature.
Yeah.
And the time of day.
And then, he would adjust the time of day, and then it would adjust the lights. So, okay, maybe I like 3K during the day, but 3K is not going to look good at night. And I was like, wait a minute. What are we looking at here? It's like, yeah, I can make it whatever you want.
Yeah.
So how far can you take it then? Can you, because I know that 10 years plus ago, some designers were tinkering around with what you just explained, right? Mm-hmm. And I think where they lost traction or even guidance was they were getting too married to specific brand names that were associated with the products that they were trying to implement into the presentation, right? Mm-hmm. So you now had limitations. Now you were more focused on the brand partnership instead of the end user, which in my mind has always been the end user. Like, get to the point and figure out. I mean, the world is so small nowadays that there's so many products. It's just a matter of how to get it to us. But that's also an easy thing outside of the pandemic years. Yeah. But that's an easy thing to achieve these days, right?
Yeah.
So it's smart that you guys were looking at it that way.
And interesting you say that for the end user, because we have so much data we've collected now from the app. We've done hundreds of homes. I can tell you what the most popular tile is in all across Canada. I can tell you what the most popular hardwood is. You know, it's Calcutta Oro, right? Or it's an oak sandalwood hardwood, right? And then we suggest to the builders, based on our previous data points, these are the best-selling hardwoods. These are the best-selling light fixtures. These are the best-selling cabinets. And then they have that data so they can better provide options to their owners.
Well, I know which one cabinet-wise is the best-selling in Canada, right? It's like Shaker.
Yeah.
But what would the tile...
In white.
In white. And I'm just curious, what would tile be like the most popular?
The Mayfair Calcutta Oro. So it's like a Mayfair Statuario it's a white marble tile with the veins running through it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
In a matte finish.
Yep.
And that was our most popular seller. So then we started ordering that in bulk, right?
So was it easier to communicate to the trades versus the end user? Or did they absorb it just as easily as the end user?
Well, I think that was our biggest difference between us and designers. So designers will put together these beautiful renderings, and they do a great job of it. Yeah. But what we focused on was the data output of the rendering that we chose. So as soon as the owner made their selections, we would then print out a data sheet, which is room by room, finish by finish, on a floor plan as to what you need to install. And you walk into the room, you scan a QR code as the contractor, it populates this QR code, shows you what you need to install, and then you check it off that's completed, and then the general contractor in the office knows you're done. And the owner knows you're done because they get to see the progress on their unit as it's being built.
See, it's funny you say that because I remember my early days, especially with the electricians, right? They did that exact same thing, but on a notepad and writing it all out. And I looked at their grocery list and I'm like, I thought it was inventing the wheel. I thought it was like pure genius. You got it all itemized. It's good. It's great. It's like amazing. I understand what you're talking about. But you still have to write everything out and label and what the cost was for every single one. But you're taking that to a whole other level at that point, right?
Yeah. In the early days, I made really good relationships with all the subcontractors, you know, Keith included, where I would go to them and show them the actual summary and be like, hey, if I were to print this out for you, would you actually want to read it? Would your guys actually read it? And then if you see my summary today, it's exactly how these subcontractors told me they want it to look. Yeah. I didn't choose.
And it looks that way.
Yeah. Who am I to choose, right? It's what they're going to read, right? That's what's most important.
I mean, let's be serious. Like, you could take 10 electricians, 10 plumbers, 10 HVAC guys. We could all be from different backgrounds, but we're all going to describe something very similar. We're all going to have a very similar approach to exactly what needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very simple for you.
Yeah.
To see that.
So you saw the similarities in between the trades. It didn't matter if it was the mechanical trades or if it was carpentry or anybody else tile-wise.
Well, this is the beauty of it is you only need to see what's involved with you. So if you're the painter, you're only going to see room name and your paint. If you're the Electrician, you're only going to see outlets, light fixtures, and what you need to install. So you don't get convoluted with an entire unit summary where you have to scroll through and find where your tasks are. It's just your tasks, right? So you don't spend that time scrolling.
So this is
right?
nice because it basically takes us right back to what we want both sides, like the homeowner, the end user, and we want the tradesperson to commit.
Yeah.
Like there's commitment at this point because now you're committing to the exact scope of work that you've priced out.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to deliver. These are the products we're going to use. This is what we're going to install. This is what you're going to get. And this is what you're paying for.
Yeah.
And there's no misunderstanding at that point.
Yeah.
And the trades like it as well because we go to them and we say, hey, what upgrades do you want to offer? So I'll go up to the electrician and say, hey, what lighting packages do you want to offer? I'll go up to the cabinet guy and say, hey, what upgrades can you give me for backsplash? I'll go to my flooring supplier and be like, what's it going to cost to do hardwood throughout the whole unit with no carpet? And he'll be like, $4,000, let's say, for a 1,000 square foot unit. So then we'll offer that on the site. And then all of a sudden people are like, I don't want carpet. I want hardwood throughout. And then I send that hardwood supplier, all right, after submitting this to 150 owners, 85 of those owners are going to pay $4,000 extra for your contract to put hardwood in. And now they're like, Dave, can I give you a hug? Because now we're going to them and saying, what can you offer beyond your scope? Right. And then they start to think like, hey, I can offer some cool things.
So you're still working with the trades and I guess you're in a constant evolving state of what you're providing, right? How to put it all together.
Yeah. I mean, the scope's there. It's the benefit of, those extras being predetermined, pre-discussed, and then, allocating, exactly describing to the end user exactly what you're going to get, right? It's not going to be in the end like, oh, well, that's not totally what I thought it was going to be. Yeah. So I don't know if I really want to pay for that now or, such and such. It's done. It's there. You've seen it. You've approved it. You've had time to think about it.
I'd like to try something here because you're familiar with it. Walk us through getting the client and a scope of work. You can generalize the scope of work and how much time is attached to that and versus how much time is saved achieving the same amount of scope of work from you guys. Like, can you walk us through that?
Well, I think the biggest thing, like, it's going to be different, obviously per job, but I think the biggest benefit that the market that David hit was the apartments, right? I mean, you're building a 30 unit apartment building. These units are being sold, right? They're not being rented, so you're not doing cookie cutter. Each one's going to have its own, nuances. And I think that's where David's really struck it, where it's like, I can put all 3 units into this program. You can make them whatever you want. And then me as the subcontractor, I'm like, okay, yep. So I can't put a per square foot number to this.
No,
because
it doesn't exist.
Look at this one. This one's
That's what I mean is I'm getting rid of this and I'm using the word commitment on both sides now.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess with you coming in and you didn't have, Scelta, you didn't have this going in. It'd be a notepad. You come in and count, and there's the ESA code and then the building code.
Well, it's that, but it's also, so I go to the contractor. Contractor says, homeowner wants to do this. That's different. Okay, I'll price it. I price it to the contractor. There's always a middle person that I don't need, more or less, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I'll send you the price. You give them the price. Then in the end, it's like, well, that's not exactly what I wanted. It's like, well, that's the information I had that I gave you, right? So where Dave is like, nope, this is exactly what they've seen. They've physically seen it. It worked. It's what they wanted. Keith, price it to that. And I know, 100% they're in.
Right. It's predetermined. So I would come to Keith beforehand and say, hey, Keith, we have a 60 unit condo, 3 floor plans. Can you provide me with 5 upgrades for each floor plan? So then Keith and his team will go back to the office, put together 5 upgrades, whether it's, cove lighting, under cabinet lighting, additional island pendant. He'll come back to me and be like, Dave, it's going to cost this much for X, X, and X. For this floor plan, type 1, type 2, and type 3. I then populate that onto the site so they can visualize it. That way, when Keith receives my order of upgrades, he knows floor plan 1 needs these upgrades for unit 101, 107, 109. So it's predetermined. So Keith doesn't have to come. He only has to do it once. He only tells me his price once. It's valid for 12 months. And then I tell him at the end of the project, hey, Keith, here you go. Here's your contract with all the upgrades that have been selected at the price you set for me.
Are your suppliers still keeping true to 12-month windows?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other benefit too, right? If we know this is coming down the pipeline, well, then we're discussing that, we're gonna need this many pot lights. So we discussed this price.
You already
'cause we locked
negotiate that,
in. Or
yeah.
on pre-buying stuff, right? Like if I know it's happening, it's like, okay, I don't need to wait till finish to buy that material. I'm confident that that's what it's going to be. So, I'm pricing that, I'm spending time, and then I bring that material in. I don't have to sit and wait, for it to show up. I have it already. It's ready to go.
What was the first thing that you saw was different doing it this way?
So I had never really used anything of this nature, building wise, right? So, just being able to, put myself in the shoes of the end user, like being able to see these things, right?
Yeah.
Like I can envision, like I could sit in this room and envision a pot light layout, right? And then the homeowner will sit down and they'll go, okay, I need 3 pot lights. It's like, no, you need 4 or you need 6. And they're like, well, why? It's like, well, it's just not going to work, right? They can see it. They can click on it. They could turn the light off and on. They can dim it. Like, it takes away me having to try to explain things to people that just isn't. It's not going to hit.
You're seeing the grocery list now, right? So that's why you're focused more on continuing that grocery list.
Yes.
And having all these options that are, I guess, like back to your grandmother, it's just like you're pinpointing exactly where this client's going to go.
Yes. So what we do is we offer the upgrades in each room step. So when you're in the kitchen, there's 10 upgrades. When you're in the bedroom, there's 3 upgrades. When you're in the bathroom, there's 8 upgrades. But then when you get to the very end, the things you can't visualize, but we know you want to purchase, we'll put in what we call a shopping cart. So when you get to the final stage of building your home, you reach the shopping cart. Do you want a carburetor? Something you can't visualize, but you might want. If you want a vacuum system throughout the entire house, you want a central vac. That's something you can't necessarily visualize, but you might want. Do you want a finished basement, right? These are things that you can't necessarily visualize, but you want to know what's included in a finished basement. Do you want a rough in for a 3rd bathroom? Again, pot filler, EV charger. These are all things that are offered above and beyond. So there's up to 100 items.
Do you currently have, how many different trades do you have working with your system right now with the app?
We work with general contractors.
Okay.
And then whatever trades that they have will adopt the program.
They'll have to adopt it.
Yeah.
They'll jump on board from there, right?
Yeah.
But have you been seeing every single one, or has there been one that's saying this is not applicable to us? It's not going to work for us?
So unless they're installing finishes, if they're installing anything but finishes, then probably not. So if you're, the window installer or the mason, this doesn't really apply to you necessarily.
Yeah.
Anything within the home it applies to the finished people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's been like a pretty simple adoption. Like these guys have just been, once the light bulb, like lack of a better, it's light bulb is just moment.
Yeah.
It makes sense to them.
Well, what they were getting before is just in a more easy to read, digestible way. And it holds them accountable.
So then what's your goal now is like you want to move forward and you want to just get more and more tradespeople interested in at least experimenting and trying this out because the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yes.
Simple as that.
To be quite honest with you, this isn't the tech implementation that I was going to discuss with you today.
Yeah.
This was a tool that I built while I was at that general contractor.
Yeah.
That gave me the confidence to then go
to take it to this, right?
Take it to this. And
exactly.
Now, because I developed such good relationships with the subcontractors by using this app platform, because we had about 30 subcontractors that I have to coordinate with, including Young Electric, that I can now have relationships with. And they said, hey, you built this technology for that GC. What about building a technology for my company? And then my friend's company, and then that plumbing company. So then we started taking our technology abilities, and the condo market took a bit of a dip. Mm-hmm. So all the contracts we had for new builds and new condos kind of got put on hold. So then my team and I were like, let's take a pivot. Let's go away from developers and GCs for this year and focus solely on contractors, the people on the ground. So that's when I gave Keith a call. That's when I gave carpentry companies a call. That's when I gave the plumbers a call. And I said, guys, hey, remember me from that project? We built that tech. How would I build a tech for you now?
It's interesting because as much as I respected the mechanical trades, it's that grocery list of that they could actually itemize everything. It becomes a little more challenging for carpentry when you're doing trim and you're doing more custom work, which is also part of finishing, right?
Yes.
How does that work for a carpenter, a finished carpenter?
So a finished carpenter will give me things like door styles, handle styles, different types of handles, and they'll give me 3 options for custom closets. So you have your base custom closet, which is just your standard rod, a few cubbies, and you have your more, luxurious higher end. Now you have some pull-out drawers, and then you have like the premium, right? The premium is a his and hers closet, right? Pull-out drawers, hang, long hang, short hang. a shoe rack, that sort of thing. So they'll give me the specs, they'll give me the elevations, and then I'll turn those into 3D models, portray them in the screen, and you just click 1, 2, or 3.
I'm impressed. I just because nobody's really explained it that way, where you can take something that's not as easy for electrical, plumbing, or HVAC, home automation, where you've seen these invoices, right? Like, well, you generate these invoices, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But when it comes into these other trades, it becomes a little more challenging. Same with tiling as well, too. When you're dealing with tiling, whether it's just full tile, full large slabs, or whatever it is, or if it's accents, it's borders, it's niches, it's like all kinds of stuff. But all you're doing is itemizing every little detail for every single room. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, you're also doing it so far ahead of the curve. Like how often are you on a new construction build, and the kitchen finishes are going to start, and here they are now holding up paint colors and now trying to figure out tile. And it's like,
pointless.
okay, cool. Well, guess what? Now we're 3 months out till you get that product.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now if you're ahead of it, like you're taking jobs that could have taken, a year to finish, you're chopping it down to half a year because you have these finishes figured out. You've pre-ordered. Everyone knows their task. Everyone knows what they're doing, right?
So your whole crew now is on this. You guys are on.
So we haven't fully adopted this one yet.
Okay.
This is the one that we've tinkered with the model, and I'm like, honestly, just that was enough for me to have an interest. This doesn't really gear towards our workload, really, right? We're not chasing a lot of these homes, but just having it in front of you, like I said, I mean, we're turning lights off and on. We're dragging and dropping lights, which is in turn reflecting the amount of light output in the room. You're seeing it firsthand, right? Like you're seeing a bright spot, you're seeing a dark spot. Did you have wall washers on there? I feel like I remember something.
Wall sconces?
No, I thought you had one with like the wall wash pot light, so you could see the reflections.
You'll
on the
actually see the
walls.
cascade from the lumens of the light.
Yeah,
You'll see the reflection on the paint and how that's going to look.
yeah. That's where I made that same face and I went, hold on, what are we doing here? Is that like,
So you're solving a color temperature issue or a color temperature question.
right? But then it's making you, okay, maybe I don't want that paint color. I would love this light, but I don't love this light with that paint.
But that was the other program that you guys were working on back then. But now with this app now.
Yeah. So just to finish on that one, the cove lighting is a great example. That's one of our highest selling items on the app, is when people see their massive living room and they see this step ceiling, this cove ceiling, and it's dark up there. And then they just have to click a button and all of a sudden you have this beautiful glow around your perimeter. Everyone's like, buy, purchase that, need that upgrade, right? It's just a gorgeous feature.
Yeah.
Had you explained it to him, though, or had I explained it to him? Okay,
Right.
Listen, we're going to put a cove light up here. It's going to avoid these shadows, and they're going to
Yeah,
go.
you can talk to the cows like,
let me look on.
This is the crown. This is the detail. This is the profile. This is the step. This is whatever. And they're still glazed look over their eyes.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, am I hitting home? Are you understanding? And
They're
then
not selling it.
they'll still say, no, I'm good, until it's done.
But you can take that. Listen, I get excited by really well laid out mechanical rooms. I don't listen, trust me, I love kitchens and I love even home gyms, and they're all beautifully done in bedrooms, and you can do a tray ceiling, you could do cove, you could do all that. I love all that shit. But the thing is that when you do a really well thought, serviceable mechanical room, and if you can somehow incorporate the panel and the home automation and the heating and cooling, and you have a large enough space there that everything's properly all done, but you can apply all that cove lighting. You can show what this mechanical room is going to look for the homeowner and explain to them, any person that comes in here, because they will eventually have to come in here for servicing, is going to be very respectful of your property.
Or you're telling them flat out up front, hey, this isn't big enough. There's not enough real estate in this room for three of us trades to fit in here, right? Like, okay, I have to be there. You have to have a panel in this room. But you have to have a furnace. Okay, good. Okay, well, what about a gas manifold? Now we're going to cram that guy in the corner, right? Like, if you're getting ahead on this stuff, I mean, it changes. I think it changes the contractor himself, because now he can be like, oh, wow, I'm a lot more confident in telling you what I'm telling you.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many clients don't have any idea what a well thought, placed, installed, designed gas water manifold should look like. Mm-hmm. I've seen what the monkeys have done, but what it should look like. And it's actually pretty impressive when you explain to them where this is already your grocery list that you've given me regarding your barbecue output, your stove output, pool output or whatever. But the thing is, in the future, you might want, I don't know, a sauna. You want all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So we want to be prepared for that as well too. And you can show them that on this app. You can show them that.
Anything with a product number, a SKU number, a reference number can be converted into a 3D model and shown to you.
Now, here's the stupid question, because there'll be several from me, right? Because I'm not on that side of the tech fence. Contractors, it's time to empower your business with Scelta Tech implementation. Scelta is offering a free meeting to tackle your biggest pain points head on. Their goal, to develop a custom company app that's built just for you. Solving your pain points, streamlining your processes, making your workday smoother. Here's the scoop. There's a $15,000 digital adoption grant available, and Scelta is an expert at helping you secure it. This isn't just funding, it's your stepping stone into a new era of digital efficiency. By your second meeting, you'll get a tailor-made company playbook, a software prototype designed with your input, project tracking, real-time budget management, and daily logs all integrated into a single app. It's tech that works for you, not the other way around. Scelta isn't just offering tech, they're offering transformation. Join the community of 93 subcontractors who have already stepped up their game with Scelta Tech. 2 meetings, countless opportunities. Ready to make a move? Visit scelta.app. Let's pave the way to a smarter, tech-driven future. Scelta Technology, custom tech solutions for the modern contractor. Are you keeping all the data attached to every single product that's being used in here? So then if any servicing is needed in the future, there's somewhere to go to?
So the nice thing is upon purchasing your home, you get a library of the items and finishes and their SKU numbers within your home. So it's a home servicing library. So you can always reference back to those.
Yeah, like that's amazing. And where does it stay with who does it stay with?
In a digital library. So you just click in on the item that you own within the room. It has all your details, your past warranties on it, your receipts, anything along those lines.
So you're not that trade that's in the mechanical room looking at something going, is that a 2 or a 1? Or is that a 5?
No. Everything's digital. We're totally against the paper copies.
Like paint colors. Isn't that the most notorious one? Oh, it's this color. And then you go by it and you're like, oh, nope, wasn't that color.
Yeah. Anything you pick during your journey will live with you for the longevity of your home. And then you can pass it off to the next homeowner.
I got a tricky one for you, Dave.
Okay.
David, can you show age on paint color?
Age. Light reflection, warmth, time of day, lumens, but age, we'd have to have a separate layer for an older paint.
Yeah.
And then that layer could then be superseded on top.
Based on certain parameters of how much UV would be entering, I guess based on the geographic location of the home and sundial, I guess, like that. But you can eventually...
If I had a reference to base it off of, that would be far more helpful. But I can't promise I could do it just off.
No. I'm just curious because that's always what I've been fascinated by, like age and UV worn out hardwood flooring.
Yeah, what's this floor going to look like after the sun's been on it?
Yeah, like everyone knows the go-to when you're dealing with tiger wood, hardwood. If you put a rug down, within 2 years or whatever, you're going to start to see the sun has just taken away from there, right?
Yeah.
But that's just another element that I would think.
Yeah.
But I don't think homeowners are at that level where they start looking at. Maybe it's because the app's going around right now on TikTok showing people how they're going to age from 30s to 60s.
Showing your face.
Hey.
So I'm like, why can't you do that for your home as well? What this room is going to look like, right?
Yeah.
So
do we trust that those are right though?
No, they're all BS, right? So and plus, you don't know what's exactly going to happen in a room over time and who patched that hole in the wall or what happened if the kid was swinging from the fan or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought about age because I know pain is one thing. Age factors in at that point. So it's just fascinating that app has got that stuff going on there, right?
Yeah, and one important point to touch upon is the psychology of human decision making, right? So understanding that we're not offering 10 paint colors or 15, right? You could if you'd like. However, we always recommend to builders to offer 4 to 8, right? Because oftentimes when you have a number of selections in front of you, the more you have, the more difficult the decision is going to become, right? So we try to coach builders in the sense to set the parameters. Set the fact,
what the top...
And we'll tell you what the top ones that are going to sell, But
that's applicable to trades as well too.
Yeah.
Because you guys are installing for the end user.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there is, as much as I hate it, the shaker panel cabinet is there.
Yeah.
And Chantilly lace is there. Like all those are the go-tos. So you already have your top 3, if not your top 5, easily there.
Already done.
So is it almost a process where but you've touched a little bit on this at the beginning, where you're interviewing the tradesperson.
Yes.
You're getting a sense of who they are as an individual, what
Yeah.
they've built as a career, and what kind of business they're growing
Yes.
to get an idea of where your starting line is, right?
Yeah. So I always want to know, as well as the pain points, is what their goals are, right? Where Keith wants to go, right? And then I try to help him map getting there by empowering him with technology and tools.
How many employees you got, Keith?
We got 12.
12, eh? And then how old's your business?
2016 I started.
Okay, so it's relatively young.
Yeah, pretty young.
And then where are
Forever
you
young,
planning
if you
on
ask.
taking it? And has that vision changed since you started adopting this?
So I think we did do a good job. Like I've always been pretty proactive with, like it was paper to pen, right? But we had systems in place that, you know, for lack of better terms, I had stolen from previous employers, passed down.
We all done it.
Like, hey, this worked really
It's like
good.
a big brain, yeah.
I enjoyed doing this, right? So we kept a lot of data, pen and paper. I mean, even David said, "Wow, you have everything I need to do this," because we did a good job. But now we do an even better job. But it's a better job, but it's an easier job for staff, which has been beneficial, which just leaves more time for everyone, right? Like it's bound to happen. The more time that you can make up in a day, the more stuff you can get done. And we've noticed that significantly.
So is it a matter of your workforce is coming in better prepared now, and they're answering questions that are on that day a lot faster?
We're giving them relevant information a lot faster. Like they know everything they need to know about a job. They have it in the app. So if they're calling us for a question, it's fine, but it's obviously not something that's involved with the information in the app. We're outside of that right now. We're talking about an extra, or it's just, specific things. Like they have everything they need.
So as a business owner, do you expand your workforce, or do you shorten your days, or do you do both, or do you take on more work?
It'll definitely open up the avenue for us to be more confident in taking on more work.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it's like we have, I would call us a small company. We're a small company who has a program that can easily grow with us. That is making us a lot more confident in taking on different kinds of jobs.
You're not intimidated now.
Nothing. No. And you're confident because you're not, oh crap, did we put that piece of paper in the right file? Go to do an invoice. Like, oh crap, I found this from the last job. That job's invoiced. What do I do with this file now? Oh, I'm burning on $800. Like that doesn't happen now. Now we have everything. We have everything in one place for all the eyes who need to see that stuff. It's in one spot. We can all see it. We can all do it. There's no confusion.
I know before we got recording, you were showing me but I mean, we're going to dive into this. I want to dive into some of this too, but you're also connecting it for the payroll, the accounting, like you got all the scheduling, like all kinds of, and Google and everything like that. Yeah. So it's also, I guess, safety as well too.
Well, all the safety documentation can be stored in there. So we have a number of contractors who get regular visits from the MLL.
Of course.
Right? And they need to provide safety certifications, working at heights training.
Yep.
So before, they'd have to say, all right, let me come down, run to my truck, sift through my papers that live on my dashboard next to my Tim Hortons cup, and then pull it out for you and hand it to you. And that was fine. That worked, right? But then we said, okay, now it's just going to live on the app. So you just click on the employee's name, and they have all their safety certifications, everything associated with that employee. They could just, hello, Mr. MLL. Here it is right here. Thank you very much. On to the next person. He has his app. He shows him on his phone, right? Everything lives on their phones or their tablets. Some guys have iPads. But what Keith was mentioning about, Keith did a great job of documenting even before I met him. And that's why he's gotten to where he has without us.
Yeah.
But what we did was during our tech implementation phase with the company is we would set up on 2 monitors. So we'd have 2 screens in our office. Left screen would be a zoomed in version of all of his paper copies. And then right screen, we would be developing their tech exactly how he sees it on his paper copy onto the screen of the tech. So that it didn't change. The only thing that changed is that it eliminated his paper, but he's seeing it exactly the way he's used to seeing it, just on technology now.
Because you knew what was going to happen if you tried to change it, right?
Well, that's it. Like, I'm not saying I'm not open to change or technology, but, I wasn't in a position to try to start learning something new. Mm-hmm. We're busy.
But technically you are learning something new, but you're learning it with a handbook that you've already created.
Yeah, well, that's it. Is I don't have these moments during the day where I'm like, oh, like shit, now what am I going to do? Like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, you don't have that. It's oh, this is exactly what it was before, and I'm just putting it on my phone.
Okay, we'll get to the. Do you want to share the costs, or how does it all work, or breakdown? You want to get into this first? I want to
Dive into this.
Okay, let's dive into this first,
Yeah.
so then people get a better idea, right? So, and I definitely always encourage everybody to go watch the show, so then you can get a better insight of this, because we'll try to explain this on audio as best as possible.
Yeah.
But I think you'll be doing yourself and your business and your employees a huge service if you actually watch how this is all unfolding.
For sure.
And then if there's any more questions, which there might be,
Yeah.
just reach out to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Throughout my journey, I've realized that, myself and many others are very visual people,
course.
right? And everyone likes to see things and have tangible things in front of them, and that's what we try to provide to everyone. That's how the configurator actually was born. But as you can see, that's the first meeting we have with everyone is an interview. So we meet with all the key stakeholders on the team. Now that includes everyone, the management team, the individual laborers, the accountants. So we'll spend nearly a full day at your office sitting with each person one-on-one, interviewing them, asking them questions about what their day-to-day operations look like. And in our minds, we're tracking all the pain that they're feeling. What sucks about your day-to-day job? What don't you like to do? And those are the kind of questions we ask.
You're reading body language? You're paying attention to like people that are not telling you the whole truth? You know how business owners are in construction.
Yeah.
We don't like to let the rabbit out of the hat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we want to just give you just enough bad points about our business just so then we don't look like morons kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I've been lucky in the fact that I know a lot
People
of
are
the
open.
contractors. People have been open with me because
Okay.
I've worked with them in the past.
Yeah.
And we've dealt with one another. And they know how I operate, and I kind of have a good chance of how they operate. But for someone new, you can tell when people hesitate, right?
Of course.
They come at you right away with
But
their...
they'll open up once you start solving things or
Yes.
suggesting solving things.
We gave him everything. Said,
Yeah.
listen,
It's pretty carte blanche.
for what
Fix
you're
it.
telling me,
Fix it.
let's have at it. Here's
Yeah.
everything. Let me know if you need anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you get to know them better, right, we're not a tech company that sits in Silicon Valley at our computers and builds you something and says, go figure it out, right?
Yeah.
We're in your offices. All of our employees wear steel toe boots with their laptops, and they come in and we get to know you before anything starts. So that's a real life picture of a couple Scelta team members right there integrating with the sales account manager at a carpentry company named Chris. So Chris is walking us through what his day-to-day sales process looks like. And as he's doing that, we have one software developer developing the features and one sitting next to him actually asking him the questions.
Okay.
So we'll sit down with them and we'll go through all the interview questions. And I'll show you in the interview, like I was saying, what sucks about your day-to-day job, and be very open with us. How can we help you? Because whatever you're going to tell us today, we have a potential solution for, if not 99% of the problems that you have. So it's things like, well, I write my hours down on a timesheet. Okay. In my mind, I put a digital time tracker right here in the top left corner. Okay. I don't know the profitability of my jobs because I'm not tracking them closely enough. Okay. Project budget dashboard here. That's feature number 2. We're not tracking changes on site and I'm losing money because I can't bill for things because I have no photos, no documentation, no signatures. Change order tool, done. I don't know what my guys are doing on a day-to-day basis. They come back after 10-hour days. They tell me they work 10 hours and they forget what they did. Great. Daily log feature with photo capability and video
I'm
capability.
laughing because that always happens.
My guys book time off and then don't tell me about it and I don't know and I have a hard time scheduling because they're always gone. Great. Time off calendar where you know exactly when people are gone. They can only book three weeks in advance of leaving.
Okay.
Unless it's a doctor's appointment or your kid's sick or anything along those lines. There's special exceptions for those. Okay, that's feature number 2. All my guys keep their photos inside their phone camera roll, and where are they? I don't have them, right?
Takes forever and magical tools to find.
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
you wanna
email
find.
me those pictures. Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
boss.
Let me scroll through my camera log of all my screenshots and TikToks and whatever I have, and then maybe I'll find that photo for you. Now, every photo is associated with a time card, associated with a project, associated with a timestamp. So you can always search back through your drive that lives within the app, and every photo you click on is associated with a particular employee, when they took it, what job they were on, and they have to put a description in. You can't just take a photo of a broken fixture and then leave it. You have to describe.
Put notes.
You have to put notes. What is that broken fixture? Why did it break, right?
Okay.
So then as I'm listening, I'm building the app in my mind. And then what we do is 7 days later, we'll bring them a prototype with everything that they told us. So we'll compile all the information from the accountant. The accountant, a great example actually at Young Electric, she said, Dave, we get all these invoices and I keep them in this drive, but they're not attached to the app. Can I drag and drop my invoices into the apps or associated with the budget items? No problem. That feature was done in 3 hours. Email them back.
This was This was a turning point for us, right? Because we were managing time through the app. But what was happening is, so we would be getting, emailed receipts from suppliers. A lot of times we're physically printing these receipts, right? Then my office lady would be taking them, and then she would manually type them into the app as a line item. And then that job would still have a folder that lived in our office to hold that material cost.
Yep.
So she came to us in the office. She's like, we need to get the app guys here. Okay, what do we need to do? She's like, I'm tired of printing these papers. She's like, the only reason we have paper is to print these receipts. Okay, David, here's what we want to do. He goes, yep, no problem. 3 days later, he goes, okay, app's live, done.
You just scanning.
Not even scanning. We're taking them from your email, drag and drop into the app on the other screen. So, I mean, we have two screens on the computer.
You're not even printing anything.
You're not printing it.
No.
But you have a copy of it. And then if whatever in the future CRA or any organization wants a copy of it, it's there. It's readily
Well, and it's
available.
not even that. It's more cost allocation, right? We know we have 100 receipts in that job. I can physically go through each one. I can say, yep, that's for sure for that job. Yep, I can approve them. I can double check them all. And it's done with. It's done. You look at them, you see them in one spot. We're not storing things in different spots. And that was done in 3 days.
And that's the idea is within the first 7 days when we build that prototype, then you give us your feedback. So you toy around with the app, you play around with it, you see how you like it, and then you tell us, hey, we don't like this feature, we want this feature, we want to add this. And then what we can do is very quickly adopt the app to your exact liking. Because the apps are all branded to your company. Every single button, every feature, every text field, every text size is all your choice.
So technically, it's not your app; it's my app.
It's your app.
It's the Young Electric app.
It's completely branded. I'm going to show you later in this presentation, but their app is the Young Electric app. This is not our app. It's completely theirs, branded.
I mean, he's gone as far as, some of our employees could be a bit older, eye troubles. Their specific app is larger than what I would see.
Larger text.
He's increased the text size on that guy's app.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that was one of the funniest things is I had a plumber in his mid-50s. Whenever I looked on his phone, it was almost like I was taking an eye test, right?
Same thing.
It
right?
was just so huge, man.
Yeah.
It was like one word line.
That's how customized it is, though. Like that one guy.
But you're doing that that's the interview process. So you're getting an idea of who this person is.
Yeah. And then for 6 weeks after implementing, we go to site and we leave the management people in the office. We say, guys, stay where you are. We're going to go talk to your guys on site. So you go bring them coffee. We have donuts. We sit on the back of the
they
pickup
arranged it with
trucks.
the office. They said, we need all the guys' numbers.
Yeah.
We gave them all the phone numbers. They said, we won't interrupt your day-to-day operations. We'll work it out with them. We will come to wherever they're. I mean, we had guys spread across the county, hours, some of them away up the highway. They made it to each guy.
But you wanted to go there because that's part of the interviewing process.
That's my favorite part of the job.
Okay.
Every time is hearing from the guys on site how they're liking it and if they're using it.
And what the problems are.
Yeah, exactly. And it will come on their break time. So we're not trying to take away their labor time. So we'll come on their break time. We'll have coffee. We'll have donuts. We'll sit in the back of the pickup truck. And you'll see there'll be a number of contractors lined up, all with their phones out, and we'll be sitting in a circle, and we'll be customizing the app on the job site.
Yeah, so this guy on the left there, Jared.
Yeah.
In the shirt, the pink shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will sit at our boardroom table as we're having this conversation, and when he leaves, it's done.
He makes all the edits in real time.
We had some scheduling questions. We had realized we were doing the scheduling. We realized that, okay, now that we can do this, maybe we can do this. So we had David and Jared over, and David goes, do your schedule. So we did the schedule. Okay, what do you want to change? Yep. You want to do this? Yep. By the time they left the office, the schedule was exactly how we needed it and wanted it.
Can you make a Scelta family version or something like that so you can coordinate with the holidays coming up and try to figure out how a contractor can find time to spend with the family and that significant other?
We were just
you guys just
on the way
had
up. Yeah, on the way up. I was like, hey, listen, I need some help. I need my scheduling's just all over the place. Can we do something?
Yeah.
And you're working on it? Well, you're working on something.
Well, now he is, now that I put it in his brain.
Yeah, well, my brother actually built an app called Dayflow where he uses our app platforms for his own day-to-day life. So whether it be meal prepping, working out,
Oh, wow.
yoga, and then he actually schedules himself in one of our custom app platforms. But it's an app for his life, and whether it's journal entries, whether it's personal goals, and then he'll track his own metrics on his performance. So if he made all his workouts that week, if he hit all his tasks, he'll say, hey, you were 95% effective this week.
Well, you could apply that to tradespeople on and off the job site, right?
Yeah.
So they can be a lot more efficient, right?
their own
Personally,
lives.
professionally.
Yeah, personally.
Why don't you put your personal calendar items on this app?
Because that's the second worst thing that tradespeople are doing in their lives, right? They
Yeah.
just don't have the time for their loved ones, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's they don't know that they have time.
Yeah.
They're wasting time.
They say they don't have time. That's the biggest problem. Is everyone's excuse is I'm so busy. It's busy, but is it good busy? Is it bad busy? Like you could have 8 hours in your day you don't know about.
You guys are too young to know that texting on a phone where you had to use one button to choose 3 letters.
Oh, I've been there.
Oh, you've been there? So things evolve.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a way to find time in the exact same amount of time that everybody has on a
Yeah.
daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, right?
But
It's
it can be
there
intimidating, right? Like let's be serious. Tech has that
for
that
trades,
aura,
for contractors,
right? Yeah,
for sure.
especially in the trade, like to disrupt the normal in the trade. It's got to take something
But
special, right?
There's hope though. When you see all the older folks with a smartphone, I think there's only 1 or 2 that I know of that is still using a flip,
yeah.
right? And they just refuse to go that smartphone, path. But
Yeah, I have the argument with a couple of my guys is I supply company phones, and it's like, well, I like an Android. You're not getting an Android, man. Sorry, you're getting and we didn't have that before. Before it was just like write this down on a piece of paper and go get my coffee, okay, and we're good. Now it's like now we're fighting over phone brands.
But that's part of your plan though, because
Yeah.
it helps your app,
Yeah,
Young
absolutely.
Electric app, right? All right, so let's get further down this. I'm loving this, man.
So the digital adoption plan. Now, this is a $3 billion fund provided by the government post-COVID, because now that a lot more people were working from home, they're further distance, the government realized we need to increase our technology capabilities.
Yeah.
So they put together this fund, and they sent out a notice to digital advisors across the country and said, hey, if you've been in management, a digital advisor, or a coach of a business for the past 5 to 10 years, you qualify to become a digital adoption advisor. So my dad, who was a lawyer for many years and then a business intelligence coach, became an advisor. And a number of his clients who were in the construction industry said, your digital adoption plan, the $15,000 grant was great, but now how can we deploy it? How can we implement it? Because what that digital adoption grant is an interview about your current business processes and understanding where your pain points are, right?
Yeah.
And then he will suggest a number of digital tools for you to then go and use as part of the plan to get you to the goals that you set out for yourselves. Well, my company, where we come in, is we actually implement the technology. So all the technologies suggested in those plans, we're the ones that are the boots on the ground, right? So you're looking 30,000 feet up, we're actually on the ground with you. So we'll take the verbiage in those plans and we'll put it to practice and see how it goes. Now that $15,000 is available to any company out there who has less than 500 employees, more than 500,000 in revenue, and is incorporated in Ontario or Canada.
Really?
So it applies to many people.
So if I'm any part of this whole podcast, this is the important part. Because
Pretty much everybody.
Honestly, we were sitting at a table like this. 20 minutes later, I was approved. I was done. We were on our way. I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to do anything.
Just online and that was it?
I didn't even do it personally.
You got
My
David.
accounting lady and David, they figured it out and they looked at me and said, Keith, you're approved, it's done. So if anyone out there is thinking, oh God, here we go. I'm going to have to go on this website. I'm going to have to do this. Nope.
Give up all kinds of business financials,
It is the
everything like
opposite. It's
that.
the complete opposite. Like, I mean, I might be off with my timing, but I felt like it was 10 minutes. We sat at this table.
It was
and
quick.
done.
Well, as long as you have a CRA My Business account and you're an authorized representative and you're the owner of the company, then you're authorized to show the government your tax returns that prove that you do meet that qualification of $500,000 in revenue.
Yep.
As soon as the government can approve that you're at that threshold, you're incorporated, you are who you say you are, it's 3 sign-ins. It's online banking, it's CRA, it's the government of Canada, and then you just give them your banking info, and that $15,000 deposit is then put into your bank account.
And you're using these funds for what exactly?
So that $15,000 goes back to actually it's paid through a digital maturity group
Okay.
So they're the governing body of this because it's a government program. It can't be paid directly to our company. So the digital maturity group is then sent an invoice to the client. You pay that $15,000. You get in return a digital adoption plan. It's about a 30-page plan. And that plan basically breaks down your entire company, your goals, your current pain points, digital proposals for you, and what tools you need to be implemented to take you to the next step. Then, once that $15,000 is complete, digital maturity groups have been paid, the advisors have been paid, you have your digital adoption plan in front of you. Now there's a $50,000 to $100,000 interest-free loan that's available for you strictly for implementation. So the plan is for planning, implementation is for actual implementation of tech. So it's $50,000 if you're $5 million and under in revenue. If you're over $5 million in revenue, it's $100,000. Now that's over 6 years, no interest, no payments in the first year, and then for the next 5 years, no interest. And as you know, Manny, at the interest rates right now, that's about a $35,000 savings, just in interest.
Yeah. I mean, I think now's the time to take advantage of anything the government's giving out, right? Like, I mean, we give. It's time to, take advantage of some of these programs.
Yeah. And then that can be put towards tech implementation, hiring of talent.
Which it should be put towards that because anybody in construction is not embracing tech.
Yeah.
But I guess like you mentioned earlier in the show, it's like you're kind of just bomb blasted with like a bunch of options out there and you just don't know what to use, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So, okay.
So not only do you get a customized plan to your company specifically, but you also get paired up with a digital adoption advisor through my company. So someone who specifies in this type of business. And then we'll tell you, hey, these are the tools that we recommend you implement. And we're ready to implement those tools if you're ready.
And you Young Electric has been doing this, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are totally on this. And
so we did the digital adoption plan. We did that. We haven't done the
implementation yet.
The implementation yet. We've been in conversations with David about it. We haven't gotten that far yet, but I mean, speaking on the digital adoption plan, it was super simple.
Do you guys offer, I'm just curious, once you develop the adoption, like the plan, can you predict what the potential revenue, I guess, in the next few years or whatever? Is that that just, you can't?
That's a great question. So what we do is we develop a company dashboard and we set key metrics. So we set key metrics, whether that's your ROI on your investment with us, or that's your profit margin, or that's your profit per hour per employee, whether that's your number of social following increasing, whether that's your profit per project. And we set those metrics for you. And each month you'll get an update from our company. We take all your financials into consideration. We'll set you up and say, here's your base point. Working with us, you've increased your gross profit margin by 5%. Your, total following on social platforms by 100 followers, right? And we'll get down to the nitty gritty of even your individual employees who are submitting their time cards on your app. This is your most profitable employee because he's working on these projects. He or she's working on these projects. They're consistently performing the project completion at this hour, at this rate. So the nitty gritty of all the details of your entire company are kept on this dashboard. So that way you can see where your investment's going. Because one thing to ask for $50,000 and tell you all these great things. It's another thing for you actually to see the results.
You want to see everybody wants to see our ROI on that, right?
Yeah.
It actually makes a lot of sense as a business owner. You want
And I know it sounds intimidating. Like originally when I, like you said, when it was brought to me and told, I'm like, wow, this sounds like a lot. It's been zero nuisance, no issues. I've never once been, went out of my way to do some of this. It's simple. Like David shows up. Hey, you got 5 minutes? Yep. Schedule it in. Shows up.
Contractors, it's time to empower your business with Scelta Tech implementation. Scelta is offering a free meeting to tackle your biggest pain points head on. Their goal, to develop a custom company app that's built just for you. Solving your pain points, streamlining your processes, making your workday smoother. Here's the scoop. There's a $15,000 digital adoption grant available, and Scelta is an expert at helping you secure it. This isn't just funding, it's your stepping stone into a new era of digital efficiency. By your second meeting, you'll get a tailor-made company playbook, a software prototype designed with your input, project tracking, real-time budget management, and daily logs all integrated into a single app. It's tech that works for you, not the other way around. Scelta isn't just offering tech, they're offering transformation. Join the community of 93 subcontractors who have already stepped up their game with Scelta Tech. 2 meetings, countless opportunities. Ready to make a move? Visit scelta.app. Let's pave the way to a smarter, tech-driven future. Scelta Technology, custom tech solutions for the modern contractor. But your business is in a better position
100%.
in the short term of 5 months, right? Because you're
Noticeably different.
noticeably different. Huh?
I don't think I put a financial metric to it yet.
But that's
But
coming.
I don't think I have to, because I just know. Like, I have a pulse of the business. I know what's going on, and I can tell you flat out it's improved.
It's kind of funny, guys, that, like I said earlier, most contractors are nervous about sharing too much information about their business. But on the flip side, when they actually figure out how to run the business better, they are not afraid to show how they've done that.
I think that's the downfall. A lot of construction businesses, though, is putting the blinders on to some numbers.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot of people are, I made money. That's all I need to know.
That's the
On to
extent
the
of
next
my
one.
answer.
And then let me know
I
at the end of the year how much I owe the government, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I was more, I needed to deep dive. I wanted to know everything. Like, I wanted to know the dollars and cents of every avenue of the business, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm the best. I use it the best way. Like, I don't know if, I'm not a business person, I'm an electrician. But having that knowledge, I would figure that out, and I'd say, okay, we're not doing those jobs anymore. No matter which guy I send there, we've done 3 of them, we're done. It just, we don't align with those jobs.
You
right?
see the
I've
negatives,
always
yeah.
understood that. Now, with the app, I can go through, okay, we have 6 job numbers. All 6 of those job numbers are the same type of job. I can look at all 6 and say, yep, okay, we've made X on this, X on that, X on this. We're going to keep pumping these jobs for the next month because we're doing really good on them. Right?
Because Keith puts his budget in for the project at the beginning of the project when he creates the project. And then as the project's life cycle continues, every time his accountant puts in a new invoice, it subtracts from the budget. Yeah. Every time his employees clock into that job, it subtracts from the budget. So at the end, Keith can see exactly how much he has left over.
And we have metrics in there where you get notifications, right? So if it's getting a little scary, then I'll get a notification. Hey, look at such and such.
Then you can figure out why.
Yeah, and then I can backtrack, right? But now I go on the app, I can open up every file, I can see every cost allocated to that job. Okay, maybe we accidentally put 2 lift rentals in there, 2 were for another job. Okay, split them up. We're back on track. Like, you can see that firsthand. You can see it in real time. Like, I can see the guys on site. I can see their clock going, right?
And you could check it at any given time.
Yeah, and your profit margins down to the hour of your entire company.
Wow.
So
how many people are doing it right now? Like, how many?
11 contractors.
Okay.
About 87 employees who are using it right now.
All right. This got to change.
So
your second meeting now.
Second meeting. So now we're on the second meeting. So when we come to the second meeting, we come with a company playbook.
Okay.
So we tell you, hey, here are the tech tools that we've implemented. So you've got a streamlined lead management tool. You've got professional communication upgrades, centralized document control, automated data intake, efficient scheduling through Calendly, unified scheduling via Google Calendar so everyone sees it, it's transparent, precision in design drawing with Smart Draw. So before, a lot of my clients used to come in and they would hand draw a floor plan, right? And then they'd mark something and be like, hey, does this look good to you? And the client would be like, yeah, I don't understand it, but sure. And they'd go back to their office and they'd be like, all right, we're building this job. So now we've given them Smart Draw, and shout out to Smart Draw. It's it's a great tool. And basically it'll snap the walls into place based on the exact measurements you give the walls. You can put window wells in, you can put door swings in, right or left. It can measure the area, square footage. So what we do is we teach the contractors how to use that. And then that way they just whip out their phone or their iPad and they can have a scaled drawing done in 10 minutes. And then that scaled drawing is connected back to their company dashboard on the app, so that every time that they submit a new drawing for Mr. and Mrs. Jones, pops up as a new job, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, with their address, their contact information, the drawings associated with it, and it needs to be quoted. So we give you the playbook. So you actually get a digital playbook of, whether it's, Manny's construction company, and it'll have every tool we've ever implemented into your company and how it works. So if you ever hire a new person, you just say, hey, this is my company playbook, read it, learn it, and you'll know what I do and how I operate.
I feel like I'm in the future.
But it's not hard as the
No, that's what I mean. It's just it sounds so simple.
Lost,
You're
right?
making it sound so simple.
Software prototype. So this is the fun part. So in addition to the company playbook, now you have a prototype. So that's actually Keith's app right there, and all those individual icons are the jobs he has around the city. So you can click in on any one of those app icons.
All those orange?
So those are only the ones we actually put the addresses in. Because I'm like, I think there's more.
I was
than
like, you
that.
got 12 employees, and they were like, whoa, that's a lot there.
Oh no, it was more than that. That's
more.
just the ones that we put the
Wow.
addresses on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Keith or any of his employees can click in on any of those projects. They can see all the data of those projects. And the nice thing is any data that Keith doesn't want his employees to see, for example, whether it might be, certain numbers, certain things, there's certain permission levels. So when Keith's guys can click on one of those projects, it opens up the project. It only shows them the most pertinent information that Keith wants them to see, as well as it's directly linked to their Google Maps. So they can click on the address and it'll just drive them to the project.
We got to keep it as easy for them as it is for me, right?
Yeah.
If not more. Like for the guys, I was hesitant because I didn't want to get those excuses of I didn't clock in because it was stupid. Okay, cool. We've had 10 comments over the implementation of this from guys just being like, oh, it did this, or I didn't punch in at the right time. There's never been like I couldn't do something like that. That's never happened.
And you know what drives people, right? Time and money, right? What drives these people? So what we come to them is like, guys, I know it's a pain in the ass to adopt this new technology, but you're going to know exactly how much money you're making, exactly how many hours you're working, exactly how much time off you have left. And all you got to do is press 2 buttons, clock in, type a few notes, take a few pictures of the day, show your boss, be transparent of like, hey, Keith, I wired 3 units today, and here's the photos to show for it. Yeah. And I did X, X, and X. So when you go to ask for a raise, or there's an opportunity for you to do more work, you can show, Keith, look at all my daily logs. Look what I've been doing.
I think that was the part that I missed because it's everyone's probably thinking it's I'm babysitting them, whereas there's more of my guys coming to be like, look how long this took me.
Yeah.
Like I got 5 jobs done today. Like they were excited because they were punching in, punching out. They were able to real time track their time, and they were coming back more confident with what they were doing.
Have you guys figured out how to do a calculation to give a certain employee a raise amount?
So we only do that with one client right now.
Okay.
It's
but you guys are thinking that, right?
profit share.
Yeah. Okay. So
We
based on
have a-
performance and like their contribution to the company, basically.
Yeah. So it's a profit sharing calculation that we have. And it's basically an equation of that person's hourly rate, the number of hours they work on a project, the subsequent employees they work around in that project, the project's budget, the project's profitability over the last month, 3 months, 4 months. And then you can see every time you put that individual on a project, you're consistently 20% profitable, 30% profitable.
That's huge.
You know who's going to hate this? Who's not going to be your friend? Bad employees.
The slackers.
Yeah, the slackers. They can't get away with I'm stuck in traffic. I can't get away with like.
It's great for a boss to know,
I know.
right?
Now, speaking of where where they are, it's if you like, there's the opportunity for geo-tracking. So as soon as someone clicks in, it pinpoints the location. He clocked in from his house this morning, or actually he was on the job site, or when he clocked out, he was on the job site. So we can pinpoint the geolocation of wherever things happen. Nice thing is it kind of saves your ass because on change orders, when that site supervisor signs off and they say, no, I didn't, which device it was done on, who signed off, the time of day, the location it was signed.
Yeah, so we actually had on our app, we had David put in a spot. So it's change order, and it's basic. The guy just types in the job he's on, what the request is, but he's forced to put in certain parameters. Picture, he's got to send a picture, and then someone has to sign it. He hits it, it gets sent to my email directly. So as soon as he hits send, it goes to my email. I can pull it up anywhere I am and go, oh, crap, okay, there's a change order. I'm going to pass it off to the office, or I'm going to call so-and-so and take care of this right now.
But these aren't long-winded notes. These are
Absolutely
just
not.
direct to the point, description, what's needed at that moment.
Photos too. A lot
Photos
of
as
of
well,
things.
right? But description is that you're not looking for a whole story. Like I'm just the points.
No,
It's like
I just
texting.
need to know what's going on so I can make the appropriate phone call. And when I'm calling that person, I'm not just saying, hey, there's something going on. I can say, hey, the plug in the kitchen, the countertop changed. I have some relevance to the situation, right?
Conservatively, based on our prior numbers, over this past year, you'll save about 40,000 in missed change orders. Conservatively. So from a tech implementation proposal, so what we commit to you is we want to make our work makes you more money. Our processes make you more money because at the end of the day, that's what we want to help people do.
Yeah.
If we make you more efficient, you could do more work and make more money. Ultimately, our work will save you time, right? Because, I mean, every contractor owner I go to says they all have the same notion. I hate admin. Don't want to do admin work, right?
But this doesn't sound like admin
I don't hate
work.
it. I like the admin work. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I like the fact of it. I like to have the information. I don't personally like to do it.
But having the information readily available,
Yeah.
right, will save you the time so you can look at the data and be able to make executive decisions based on real data.
But you're breaking down his app or their app
Yeah.
in a way that it's not really time consuming to fill out the information that you need to fill
No,
out.
that was the one comment we made right away. Is that this can't be difficult. If
Yeah.
it's difficult, like I don't want to have to, put out a monthly payment to have issues from my guys.
Yeah.
That, and we're not talking, it's not a frozen app. Like that's not the issue. I don't want them calling saying, I can't figure out how to fill this out and I don't know how to do this. And this is taking 20 minutes of my day. And we didn't want that. We can do this, but it needs to be very simple. And they 100% nailed that.
The guys on site will have maximum 6 features, 5 features. Some guys only have 3 features. Clock in, clock out, daily log, change orders. Whereas,
And associated pictures.
Yeah.
Which is easy enough.
Which is through the
Daily log.
You'll click on
yeah, your
that.
daily log.
Yeah, like you
and
don't
then
have
you're
a
actually
choice.
just given a description for the picture, then it's actually uploaded. It's done. It's done there. That's
Yeah.
your job is done.
whereas Young Electric and Keith's company is a bit more elaborate in their sense of they have a scheduling tool as well because they schedule a lot of their installs. They will give the guys, hey, 3 hours to go to this project. Some of their guys will go to 4 projects in one day. So Keith has to have a real-time schedule that if he changes anything in that schedule, his guys will get a notification that, hey, schedule's changed. You're actually going to this job now. And it'll tell them in real time.
Yeah.
While they're
And
on
I
the
could do
road.
it, but keep in mind, I could do it from my phone.
Yeah.
So like I could
So
be
if something happens in the day and
something
whatever,
happens right now, I could just sit here, look at my
emergency
phone.
or something happen, you can shift it
I
right there.
can do it right here, and it would notify anyone who's relevant to
Yeah.
the change gets notified.
It works especially well for the service guys.
Yeah.
Guys who are going to multiple projects a day.
We like it even for projects. So we'll take say we'll have 3 months planned out on the app. Well, we know we can fill these guys in for 3 months. If there's going to be a lull in the project, we can show that downtime, and we know next week those guys are at that job. Flooring's happening, they can't be there. Well, now we're plugging them in somewhere else, but we can see that ahead of time, right?
Is it possible? Another stupid question. Can you get our service people or our service suppliers, like the suppliers, attached to this?
You can send the suppliers notifications from the application with the information that you want them to see.
So you know what I'm getting at with this, right? But
Yeah.
are you doing that right now?
We're
or-
not doing that, no. We like to have the pulse of that through the office, right? Like we want
Okay.
to we
All
want
right.
to see more. We want to make more of the purchasing decisions rather than the guys. But for a service contractor, I think it'd be a no-brainer to do that.
Well, yeah, I've seen it where you've got people on a job site. There might be a missing part or a missing component, an extra length or whatever
Right.
it is, right?
Yeah.
Then that service person or that tech or whatever will just make the phone call through the company's account or whatever, and then it gets like I'm talking about suppliers that have delivery options
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they're just running around all over the city and they drop off that material. But if it's already connected to the app with them, but then yeah, you're right. It kind of makes more sense to stay with the person doing the work. And they
yeah,
make
we
the
just like
phone
to
call.
control that a little more, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that it gets cloudy for the user. Like I don't want them to have to think that far ahead.
yeah.
Let's keep it simple.
Okay.
I just want to know how long you were there, want to know how long the job took. I just need some pictures so I know what's going on, and we're good.
So our next commitment is we want your status to increase. We want to make you look good to your customers, to your clients, to your own employees, and to yourselves. Because now not only do you have this new tech that you're presenting to your clients, right? In all these different metrics, whether it's a lead tracker, professional email communication, professional company app, professional company data intake, professional scheduling software. These tools in this tech implementation all make you look more professional.
Yeah.
And more like a company who has their shit together. And to your own people, right? Your own company. When someone works for Young Electric, they know that they're coming into a company that is organized. It is systemized.
You
right?
do have your shit together, is what it is, right? Like you're not putting on a front.
No.
It's all here. It's all we have it all.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just answering all the questions. Like for the end user.
For the end user, yeah.
Like because that's the biggest problem in construction is that you don't have the answer or you don't want to give up the answer
Yeah.
or you don't want to answer correctly. You're solving all those problems with this.
Right. If I asked you and you're a contractor, walk me through your sales process with a new client. If I just came off the street and asked for your services, I bet you they would treat 5 clients in 5 different ways.
Of course.
Because they don't have a set process.
Yeah.
Whereas Keith knows as soon as he talks to a new client, whether it's commercial, whether it's residential, he relies on his processes.
Yeah.
He relies on his technologies. He knows it's systemized, it's streamlined, and he can grow because of that. So a last point is fear, right? So a big thing is we help you avoid negative outcomes and fear, right? The unknown. People feel they're busy. People feel they don't know how much money they're making. That's all fear. That's the stuff that keeps you up at night. One of the best compliments we ever received was one of our contractors said, you know, Dave, when people ask me what it is you do for me, I can't really coin it. But all I know is I tell them I sleep better at night. And that for me is the essence of what we do, right? Is helping these contractors sleep better at night. Because I know, when you hit the pillow and you're a business owner, you're like, shit, got to send that invoice. My guy's clocking in. Did they work on that project? Did they finish that? Did I send that email? This is peace of mind. Everything's in one place.
100%, man.
Okay.
Where are we going now? There's a team? No, that's every individual that's using. No.
That's one of the companies that uses it. So this is Pinpoint Carpentry. This is one of the first companies to adopt the program with Young Electric. And 23 people. And, this is just an example. Actually, I'm in that photo right there at the back with one of my software developers. And, like you, Manny, like we like getting the company merch. We like integrating ourselves with the company.
Yeah.
This is right after we had pizza and beers with this company. And, we feel as though at the end of the day, we are a tech company, but we're also people.
Yeah.
And we want to get to know you. And we want to like the people we work with because we'll work harder for you, knowing who you are and knowing that this is doing something good for you.
You'll solve problems.
Yeah. And each one of those individuals, like I was saying before, if you asked me to name anybody in that group photo and any of the 87 people we work with, I could tell you their first name and a little bit about them because we've spoken to every single one of them and asked them. Just that gentleman in the front, Don, he told me, he's like, Dave, it'd be nice if I knew exactly how many vacation days I had left before I book a vacation with my family. And I was like, Don, that's a great feature idea. So what we did was we went to his boss and said, how many vacation days do they get? And now Don knows I got 10 days left this year, so I'm going to book that trip to Florida with my family on this trip, right? On this time. And that just little things like that.
These are things that were probably within the company, and he could probably figure it out, but he doesn't have to think about it now.
No, it's there.
Oh, I got it. It's done.
Yeah. I'm not coming to you telling you what you need. You're telling me what you need, and I'm implementing it for you.
That's the basic difference I see here is that you're actually listening to everybody and listening to their pain points, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody, as much as we're all similar business-wise and building a construction business, we have very similar problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the reality is I can go find something like this. We know they exist. I've looked at them. I've weighed out the options. But most of them are overloaded with options that
there's
I didn't
a general
need.
blanket over
everything.
everything.
It's like, well, I'm going to use 10% of this app, but I'm paying the 100% price, right? Mm-hmm. This was the difference for me, where I was like, nope, you're getting what you need. That's it.
So one important thing I forgot to mention to you, Manny, was I used Procore while I was at that company for 3 years.
Okay.
Now
everyone's familiar with Procore.
Yeah,
right?
we adopted Procore for 3 years, and Procore, don't get me wrong, is a very robust system, but we only used 20% of Procore. We would only use a few of their many features, so we'd often find ourselves going down rabbit holes looking for the features we actually wanted to use. And every time we submitted a ticket for feedback, saying like, "Hey guys, you mind just changing this feature a little bit so it's more friendly to our projects and to our process?" We wouldn't hear back. They say, "You've been put in the queue, but there's 1,001 people ahead of you." And you're paying, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Procore's pricing model,
range,
but it's quite a hefty price tag associated with paying for the entirety of the app, not just what you use for the application.
Did they change the queue to similar problems, or is it all the problems
You
all
get
in
sent to an FAQ.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, and that FAQ will be, a number of people asking similar questions with the response rate, but beyond the FAQ is the feature requests. Because oftentimes, like I said, every time we go to site, we come up with a new feature. To go to a giant like Procore and try to tell them to use a feature, they're never going to hear from you.
What are some of the cool things that the carpenters actually came up with and not applicable to his app, but their app. What was something? That,
So one in particular is actually their shop material. So every time they make a new order, they notify the shop. So as I was telling you, they have that smart draw system.
yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll submit that smart draw into the app. It goes into the project dashboard. So let's say like 344 Lilydale Drive. They'll say like, hey, we got to build 2 custom closets and we got to do a fireplace mantle. So they get 3 drawings for it. That automatically gets sent to the shop. The shop then gets notified and they have to do a materials list. So then the shop gets it on their app. Like, oh, we got a new order.
Smart.
Let's put together a material list.
Smart.
And then they'll send that material list off to estimating. Estimating will get it. And then that estimate is all circled back to the first guy who sent it in the first place.
How many emails that would have been?
A lot.
Like
The thread would have been just like, man, I could be a seamstress
time
at
though.
this point,
Like
man.
you're sending an
It's a joke.
email, then you're waiting for the reply email. Like it's just so much time.
Then you're getting lost in the emails. And did I get this one? Did I see
Now
this
you're just
one?
walking across the shop to find the guy because you're just tired of email.
Or I forgot to attach my attachment.
Yeah. Oops.
So this is a number of companies that Build Source in the top left. Again, myself and my software developer, Jared, were together there. That's Keith's company in the top right corner there and his employees. Again, we're with the team. Bottom left corner is Made to Shade window coverings. He's got 6 employees and installs window coverings, window shades. So he has an inventory system on the app as well. So he knows exactly how much material he has to get out to his manufacturing facility, when it gets delivered, when it gets installed, scheduling the installs.
Is he a fan of battery-powered shades? Or he
Yep,
prefers
motorized,
but battery or hardwired?
hardwired.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I don't like battery ones.
yeah, they fail quite a
That's
bit.
why I don't like them.
But and then the bottom 3 there, the older couple with their son in the middle, they're forest clad fireplaces. They supply and install fireplaces across Windsor, Essex County.
Nice.
Great family. We started working with them. It's a family-run operation, and they had troubles with their inventory. They'd have a number of expensive fireplace products and not know exactly how many they had on the floor, how many they had in the back shop. So their numbers were off. So we came in, we did an initial analysis of their entire inventory, their entire floor inventory, input it into the system, taught their employees how to use the system to make sure those two jived. If there was ever a missing piece, we'd always have to track back, hey, who pulled that piece out and where is it? And they're quite happy with that. The bottom right corner is Pinpoint's shop. So that's their shop team. So those are the people who manufacture the millwork on the CNC machines.
Yeah.
And then that's the team. But as you can see, this is our favorite part. All smiles, always having a good time with the people on site. And these are the ones who get to use it on a day-to-day basis. So
let me ask you this, David. It's just obviously this is going to grow because it makes sense to me, right? Mm-hmm. I love the personal touch, but you can't be if 100 companies came along and whatever 10 employees per company or whatever.
Yeah,
like that's a lot of people that you're going to go and have to interview. Is that you're preparing for that, right?
that's a good question. So my brother is actually at the Ivy School of Business in London.
Okay.
And he's graduating with a master's in digital adoption. And him and his fellow classmates have all expressed interest in coming and working for the company because their entire master's was focused on going into corporations and implementing technology.
Wow. Okay.
So we have a bit of a talent pool coming from my brother, who him and I are obviously best friends and business partners.
Yeah.
So he's bringing his pool of talent over to the company. So they graduate in December at the end of this month, and we've got 3 of them who are going to be starting in January. And we're all going to become tech implementers. But as I've promised Keith and a few other owners that, took a chance on me in the early days, I will always personally oversee those accounts because, it meant a lot to me in those early days to take a chance on technology.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So we went over a bit of the pain, but, we always want to ask what sucks tracking hours. I have no process. We need a company dashboard. I'm not fully aware of what my guys are doing on site. Well, you need daily logs.
Yeah.
I got lost revenue. Well, are you tracking your change orders? These are the kind of like give and take conversations that we have
Every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So actually, it's funny. We almost act as though we listen to you vent. Sometimes we get our best information when you're venting.
It's true. It's true.
About what you didn't like about the day. And then as you notice, major hassle, takes hours, very unclear, too complicated, wasting time. This to most people is terrible, but for us it's kind of music to our ears because it means there's things that we can change for you.
Like try telling a contractor not to use any of these expressions or
seriously.
words, and it'll be a quiet job site, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I heard a funny reel the other day. It was like, if you walk by a job site, you hear a whole bunch of F-bombs, it's going to be a very sturdy building.
It's true.
So again, connecting with the owner. Are you fully aware of your profitability on projects? Are the employees engaged in notifying you of the progress of your project? Are the employees fully aware of their responsibilities and roles in the company? Are they fully aware of the work that you're completing daily? Are you aware of the day-to-day actions that you have, right? Are you tracking the data from those client interactions? Is there a process in which you go and approach a new client? Do you treat every client process the same? Now, these are all questions that I ask owners that, you know, when you're a contractor, you're not always thinking about these things, right? You're thinking about, you know, getting the next job and completing it properly. And
I bet you more than 2/3 of businesses out there don't have these questions asked.
You're working on the business. You're not working in the business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, could you just take a new electrical company? You know, a guy who's been a journeyman his whole life, wants to switch over, start his own business. He's probably never asked himself any of these questions.
No.
He's just
let
like,
alone answered.
no, and he's like, oh, gotta get a job for tomorrow. Where if you implement
Chasing it.
this
That's all you're
company,
doing.
this program, I mean, this is all spelled out for you. You know, you could be a one-man operation and you get all this, and you're like, okay, I know what I have to do.
I like that last one. Do you treat every client process the same?
yeah. Because we think that money solves all problems,
No.
right? We think that, oh, I just need another job and then I'll get less busy and I'll have more money, right? It's
It's not the solution.
not the solution.
Sorry, I interrupted you, David. What were you going to say?
No, you were asking me about, do you treat every client process
No,
the
before
same?
that, you were about to say something. Or no.
I think money solves problems
Okay,
is
that
a
was it, yeah.
fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next slide?
So this is actually Young Electric's app. Again, this is all dummy data.
It's simple, huh?
Yeah.
Man,
So I'll give
so
you an
simple.
example. This is how.
Actually, we just upgraded this. We just changed the scheduling portion. It looks simple now, but it's more complicated than it was with intention. Just because we needed a little bit more data put into it.
So clock in, clock out, days, notes,
Materials used,
materials,
photos,
photo upload,
files, drawings, save,
Wow.
and then you have your time list in a weekly fashion. Click in on it.
And you can build and rebuild it at any given time. So you can prepare for the next week. You can get it all ready.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're what do we got up to a month ahead? I think.
Yeah. So
You're
yeah,
a month ahead, so your
Keith-
employees already hanging on to this, and they're looking at this, and they know exactly.
They
what-
know what's coming down the pipe, right? So if they're at a job, they can see that they're leaving job, but they're coming back. So okay, we don't have to take every ladder off the job. We're back in 2 weeks. We know that like it's
Smart.
the whole company has a pulse on the business. Guys know they have work. That's the most comforting thing for them, right? They're not looking going, oh crap, there's nothing on the schedule for the next 2 weeks. Like they know, they could see it all.
even up to the lunch break, right? Because sometimes, you know, guys will take lunch breaks, right? And could turn into an hour, could turn into less. But Young, for example, will give the guys, you know, you got to click when you're doing lunch, you're having your lunch, click when you're having it, right?
We have a lot of guys who weren't taking lunch.
Right.
Was the problem. They don't want to. They'd rather
They
just,
just want to work right through, finish the day, get
Yeah.
out.
I don't want to slow down. I'm going. No problem. I'll pay you, leave half an hour early.
Yeah.
But if you do take a lunch, you literally just click that button
And don't do anything else.
and you don't do anything else. That's done. You just hit that, you took a lunch. That's it.
And,
No,
and
were
they-
were you doing that? What was the primary reason for why you wanted them to identify lunch? To know you personally, to understand that they were taking a break from their
well,
day?
just for payment purposes, right? So if
Okay.
they hit lunch, they get a half hour, taken off,
Deduction, yeah.
right? But if they're not taking lunch, I'm not going to take that half hour.
Yeah, so we gave them the option because it is a half hour, and when Keith has multiple employees, that half hour adds up across the board.
Yep.
But if some guys, like Keith said, leave half hour early and they want to work right through, they have the option. They want to take half hour for lunch. You just click that button. You don't have to clock back in. It'll just auto subtract 0.5 from your total.
It's simple. Like
It's so smart.
it's not a difficult process. But it's there.
Here's a change order. So task, upgrade lighting fixture.
Simple.
Description, maybe, yeah, could spell it wrong possibly.
No,
Add
that's
capacity.
fine.
And
Sign it.
Sign right on the spot. It timestamps it. Associate the project with it. And it's always pending approval until Keith has approved it.
Yeah. So at this point, I'd get an email sent to me saying that there's a change order.
You'll get authorization. You'll get the approval. You'll send it back to them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And then the guys get a notification saying it's good to go.
So as you can see, the only features that these employees have are clock in, clock out, create a change order, my timesheet, and then when you click on those 3 bars at the top, schedule vacation time off, see my schedule. Now,
Yeah, right there.
these are all the change orders.
Now, Keith, do you do it for yourself?
Do I clock in and clock out?
Yeah, all that
I
stuff.
don't. No, I don't.
But you did book your time off, though.
Yeah, I was about to
You
say,
booked a
what about your
Actually,
vacation?
so I did. Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
booked time off just so the office staff knew, and my office staff's
So
kind of
everyone's
done the
aware
same.
that he's not going to be here this week.
Well, I just
or
wanted to give a
whatever.
heads up.
So in this video here, it's just showing you that when you click on the change orders, you can find the change order. You can edit the change order, set it to approved once Keith is billed for it, and then you go back to your project dashboard. Click there. You see the project's in progress, your total budget. You scroll down, you see the time cards associated, you see the related change
Notes,
orders.
everything.
Yeah.
Contractors, it's time to empower your business with Scelta Tech implementation. Scelta is offering a free meeting to tackle your biggest pain points head on. Their goal, to develop a custom company app that's built just for you. Solving your pain points, streamlining your processes, making your workday smoother. Here's the scoop. There's a $15,000 digital adoption grant available, and Scelta is an expert at helping you secure it. This isn't just funding, it's your stepping stone into a new era of digital efficiency. By your second meeting, you'll get a tailor-made company playbook, a software prototype designed with your input, project tracking, real-time budget management, and daily logs all integrated into a single app. It's tech that works for you, not the other way around. Scelta isn't just offering tech, they're offering transformation. Join the community of 93 subcontractors who have already stepped up their game with Scelta Tech. 2 meetings, countless opportunities. Ready to make a move? Visit scelta.app. Let's pave the way to a smarter, tech-driven future. Scelta Technology, custom tech solutions for the modern contractor.
Lead tracker. Or go ahead, sorry.
No, there's no wasted information, right? It's all very relevant, real-time info.
Pretty much what's slowly moving around in a contractor's head.
Absolutely.
What they're curious about.
Except I'm
is-
not on my iPhone calculator
Exactly,
trying
right.
to.
And I'm not trying to say that we're idiots or anything like that. I'm just saying that we don't want to embrace tech as easily as other industries do.
Yeah.
So we're reluctant at first, right?
100%.
But this is a lot simpler where you're not asking no more than you're asking of the person to understand a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it was a little difficult for contractors, especially the older ones, to adopt a smartphone and understand apps and how to communicate and how to do things. But now this is in the same vein.
I feel like if you can send an email from your phone, you can figure all this out.
That's what I mean.
There's nothing that's going to be shockingly difficult.
But you're getting answers faster than it.
Real time.
Yeah, like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the thing is that it would take longer to make a phone call and have a conversation, try to get a hold of somebody or text somebody. They might be in a meeting, but then you're just going through this process and you're getting the answers faster.
Yeah, and I mean, from a business owner perspective, we have enough projects going on. We have enough people working that, I mean, I don't know every job we're doing.
No.
Like, I can't be at every job. I just get
Nor
phone
should
calls.
you be,
Like,
though.
hey, I need a guy. Send a guy. Okay.
Yeah.
But I can see, okay, he's there. He's clocked in. Well, now I'll call him. I'm not going to call him and say, are you there yet? Are you there yet? Okay, you're clocked in. I'll shoot you a text. When billing cycle comes, I can go back and I can debrief on every job. Okay, I'm going to invoice these jobs. I can go through. I can look at all the pictures. I know exactly what the guys did by the time I invoice that job. I'm not sending an invoice for something that I have no idea what they did.
Right.
Saving you time from being on all the job sites or stopping
Well, saving me
by the
time,
job
but man, it's
sites.
giving me confidence in what the company's doing. Like, Young Electric's farther ahead than other companies because I have a pulse on everything. I'm not telling you it's costing this much and it's just a number I made up. I have real data.
And speaking of being ahead, I just interviewed a company the other week, and I saw that all their work orders. So they would go do a service call, and then their labor would write down what he did: installed fixture, installed plug, whatever it might be. Get the owner to sign off on it. Here's our billing rate for my number of hours, and then the owner would sign off. Their invoicing staff, their accounting staff, wouldn't be able to invoice that until that physical paper got on their desk.
Yep.
He leaves on a Friday, he's gone for a weekend. Oh, sorry, I forgot it in my truck. You don't get to invoice for that.
We had the same issue. So typically all paperwork's handed in every Monday.
Yeah.
So if we did 3 service calls that week, unless I went to physically find that employee and got his paperwork, I'm not invoicing him until the next week. we're invoicing, small jobs and service calls same day, if not maybe next day, because we have all the info. Like it's there. I'm not waiting a week. I can do it. I can do it as soon as he's done. I can see he's done. Invoice him.
But also payroll the other way around. It's faster and streamlined.
Well, it's nice too because so what happens is the payroll gets run on Monday morning and I get sent a payroll report.
Yeah.
So I can go through and I can see where everyone is and say, oh, is that guy really in overtime? He shouldn't have been in overtime. Oh, no, he messed up. He wasn't in overtime. Or, yep, I approve of that overtime. Like I have a pulse. I have the insight on every guy, every job, every hour that the company's billed for.
So I guess at first, most businesses are thinking this is a lot to be rattling around in my head, especially if you got more than 10 or 12, whatever employees. How am I going to wrap all this information around my head? But the thing is, you're actually making it very simple that it could be 10 or 12 employees. It could be 20. It could be 40 employees. Doesn't matter at that point.
It's almost, the word I was thinking the other day, it's almost fun because I know it all. Like it's business has become fun for me because all those gray areas, all those questions that were always in your head and you were trying to answer yourself.
Stress.
Yeah, I have them, and you're getting the bad stuff too, right? Mm-hmm. Like
but then you can solve the problem.
Exactly, and that's what it
want.
was. Like, okay, yeah, we lost money on the job. It happens. I can debrief that whole job and say.
But losing money on a job and happening is different than figuring out why it happened.
But not having the information as to why you lost the money.
That's why.
That's where.
And now you're getting the information.
Well, that's where companies fail, right? They do 5 of those, and next thing you know, it's like, oh boy,
we can't carry this anymore.
Yeah, now what?
You can already adjust on the first one. You could probably try to fix the failure midway through.
Immediately.
So at least you don't have that big of a failure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, you have a pulse in your entire business on your phone. Right now, I could look at my phone right here. I could tell you.
You know what's going on the day.
Anything I need to know.
In Young Electrics.
Where the guys are.
Yeah, and I could change it.
Nice thing is, too, is, Keith and I were talking about this on the way up, is cash flow. Is oftentimes in construction, when you're, floating 12, 20 employees, cash flow perspective, your client's not paying you out for every 60, 90 days. When you have the ability to have that information readily available, that way you can bill immediately, right? Because you're going to be waiting 60 days. And cash flow is your lifeline, right?
Yeah.
In the industry sometimes. When you're stretched over multiple projects, you want to be able to have that information ready to go, ready to be billed for.
Are there other slides or no? There's more slides?
The lead tracker.
The lead. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, there was another one. Lead tracker.
This was a big thing. Is the first company that I built this lead tracker for. It's a Google-based system, but basically you see the owner of the deal in the company, the stage of the deal, whether it's lost, won, estimate sent, what the step is, if it's a job type, mantle, millwork, custom woodwork, the lead source, the customer phone number, next step to get closer to closing. And then it gives you real-time data information on how many deals you're closing, how many open deals you have, what's closed, what's not. And because one of our sales guys for the companies we worked for, he was on the brink of leaving, of just quitting because he was just too overwhelmed. Because I looked at his desk when I first met him, and he was sat on this rolly chair. He had 2 desks, and he used to roll back and forth between these 2 binders looking for, drawings, leads. A customer would call him and be like, hey, do you have that drawing for me? I came to you 6 months ago. And there's very little chance he's going to find that drawing from 6 months ago. What was your name again? What was your address? What were you billing for?
Well, it's the typical, I'll call you back.
Yeah.
And he's figuring it out.
And then you ask the owner, hey, do you remember that guy we billed for? And then the owner's mad at him because he's like, you don't remember, you didn't document it. No, I can't find it. So it was a bad situation. So I was like, guys, before we make any rash decisions, let's try this lead tracker. So what I did was said, give me all of the leads you have on the go right now. He's like, all right, I've got 45 deals on the go right now. I was like, great. We sat down. It was on a Sunday at his desk, and we just inputted them into a lead tracker. He came back to work Monday, showed his boss the lead tracker. They have a flat screen TV like this in their office. Now that's all they post on that flat screen TV in his office. So it's a constant transparency of all the deals he has on the go, whether they need an estimate, they need a service call, the renderings have been sent, they're qualified, they're closed. So that way, he's no longer stressed because he knows all the deals I have on the go. His boss is no longer mad at him because he knows what he's got on the go.
Yeah.
And also the lead engagement.
And the lead
So
engagement.
you know exactly when it started, where it's currently at, and then you keep on growing from that point.
Yeah.
And you guys came up with that for a client, for their app.
Multiple clients use this.
Okay,
They use
all
it
right.
for lead tracking, warranty tracking, and inquiry tracking.
I mean, this alone is smart for any construction business, like any trade.
Yeah.
100%.
The inquiry tracker is actually interesting because the inquiry is just the inquiries that the employees used to ask their bosses. Because anytime the boss would walk by their office, they try to walk by fast because they didn't want to get bombarded with questions. So they said, Ben, I actually don't leave my office because I don't want to get asked too many questions there, else I lose my flow. So we told the employees, like, stop asking them questions in the middle of the day and just put them on the inquiry tracker.
Okay.
So the inquiry tracker, you put your question, you tag yourself as the employee, you timestamp it, and you put a priority level. Is it a high priority question or is it a low priority question? And then you tag whichever management position person you're asking. And at the end of the day, each management person in that position will go through the inquiry tracker. And there's a section for them to write you a written response to resolve it. That way, somebody else doesn't ask you the same question the next day because it lives inside of your inquiry database. So now you're building your own company's FAQ without even realizing it.
Wow. Because that's actually probably a lot of your time being asked.
Oh, it's like, I don't know.
It's constant.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
So then if it's already being addressed, man.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We're problem solvers. As tradespeople, we're problem solvers. As a business owner, you're a problem solver. But you
Yeah.
can only address so many at once, right? So, I mean, here you go. Start at the top.
That's a smart one. I like that one.
And then just to show you a bigger version of Young's time off calendar as an example, employee name, start date, end date, reason for your trip, Mexico trip, and now it's booked off in the calendar.
booked off. It's done.
So each one of these icons that you see on the left are ones that we have specifically asked for. There's one in there, draft schedule was something we came up with. So what we were doing is, everything changes day to day, right? So we would constantly have 4 or 5 employees where it'd be like, you're here, nope, you're here, nope, you're here. So what we're doing now is, come Friday, we have a draft schedule for next week. So by Friday, we've confirmed all the jobs, we have everything. Now we just hit send, draft schedule gets converted to the real schedule, all the guys know everything. But we're not, and that's the nice part about that is that's everyone in the office can adjust that schedule. Hey, I see you had so-and-so scheduled Monday here. Can we float them, maybe to here instead, move this around? Like, it's giving us an avenue. It's giving a big view of what's going on for the week. And we're moving guys. We can move them here. We can move them there.
You guys using that for other clients as well?
Young Electric's the only one who schedules as detailed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Most people use just a general calendar feature, and they'll mark key dates and key deliveries. But Young is the only company that we currently have who is that detailed with their schedule on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis.
So Keith, I guess it's gotten to the point where, like you said, it was like it's fun now to actually run this.
Yeah, no.
But you're also contributing to what they've sparked.
Yes.
I think we brought them a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just the idea. They've done a top-notch job on taking our thoughts and turning them into real usable situations. And
Productive, successful business.
It's a time off list. I mean, we all have that running Excel spreadsheet. You all have you have that note on your desk. Like,
it's almost Excel's a 4-letter word, eh?
It's almost
just like
the guy goes in his app. The employee, he or she goes in the app, hits the button. I can see it. I approve it. Like, these are simple things that go a long way.
And one thing we didn't mention there, but the accounting is a big thing. So, Keith has someone in his office who strictly takes care of bookkeeping, accounting, right? So for her, she very frequently uses the create payroll summary, right? So she'll go in, she'll create the payroll summary, just click start date of pay period, end date of pay period. So whether you pay your people weekly or biweekly, and then it'll then take all the hours associated with that time period, put it into a generated list in an Excel format or however you want to see it. That way you can export that list and upload it to your accounting software, or you can just simply look at employee name, time period, number of hours worked, and input that into your system. So every 2 weeks or every week, just create a new payroll summary. And then historically, you can see all your payroll summaries. And if you're ever in question, one guy worked 97 hours. Why? Click in on it, see all the details. Where did he work so many hours?
Well, it's just an easy avenue to have the pulse. You know exactly what went on that week. Like, it's there in front of you.
How much time are you spending though reviewing everything now? Or are you reviewing everything? Or you
Honestly, I
just,
probably review more now than I ever did, just because it's so easy to review. You know, before I would have to go, I have to deep dive into, like, so we use QuickBooks. I have to go into QuickBooks. I'd pull up an employee. I'd have to go print out a summary report, or I'd be asking someone else to do it. Now it's like, open an email. Here's a very straightforward summary, guy's name, hour. I mean, I'm not spending more time, but I'm spending more
efficient time.
efficient time. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what you're doing.
And I'm getting better information.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Very, very impressed, man.
I'm still
Just
impressed and I use it.
Yeah, you're using it.
Yeah.
So now all the employees have adopted. Like all the employees get the benefit. They all see it now, right?
Every one of them.
There's no reluctance anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and it's to the point where you get compliments on it. Like, guys are like, hey, we're really happy that, you know, we did. And we had a really good system. Like, our system was simple. It wasn't over the top. It was pen and paper. The guys are just happy now that they don't have to handwrite something. I don't have to call them and say, what does this say? Send them a picture. Like, these are all simple things, but it's real scenarios, right? Like, we're avoiding all that now.
It's just like, as you guys are just describing everything, is just, there's been a lot of people on the show that I've been impressed with how they built their business, but they haven't perfected it. It's still missing a few links. You know what I mean?
Mm.
There's definitely people that I'll get to introduce you to, right? So you can start speaking to them, and just because it's going to benefit. I know where they want to take their business.
Yeah.
I know where they can take their business, right? And I'm very respectful of that. But this would totally help them get to a whole other level at that point, right?
Well, I could confidently say that I can do, my business is probably more efficient than a lot of other people's businesses.
Yeah, I could totally see that, right? Trust me, I go back to the early days and just writing it all down.
And it's a bonus for Young Electric. Like, I feel like we have a leg up on a lot of other contractors, because we have the data and the info. We know our numbers. We know what something's going to cost. We know, like, we have this info. We're not guessing. Mm-hmm. It's right there.
Then you can communicate.
Yeah.
With your employees, with your clients, with GCs, what have you, with everybody, right?
And that feedback button in the bottom left corner is used quite frequently as well. So in all the softwares we build for companies, we leave a feedback button. And that feedback button, you just click on it. It opens up a text table. You just type in what you want changed about the app or what you like about the app. You click submit, and that goes to my entire team.
Yeah, so in the early, I'd say probably the first month for us was feeling it out. And we did work together.
Yeah.
And we made some changes. There were things that were like, it's okay.
But he's creating your app.
But even better, Manny, is I didn't have to deal with any of those problems personally. So my guys would have app issues. I didn't even know it. They would just hit the feedback button, and then I would get an email at the end of the week, oh, all new app implementations are done. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, well, we had an issue with this and this. I didn't deal with any of them. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't
Well, you were letting your workforce
time.
find an issue and then bring up an issue.
And David called them.
And he figured it out with his team.
Yeah. I wasn't interrupting my day to deal with app issues.
Appages.
Yeah.
App issues or appages? Appages?
App issues.
Yeah.
What else you want to show us?
So in addition to the software implementation, part of tech implementation is a multitude of tools. So we're basically building you a digital toolbox. So in addition to your custom company app, you're going to need your Smart Draw. You're going to need your Calendly. You're going to need your AI. I won't touch too far upon AI, but I do want to say we have an AI plugin. Now, Young Electric has a number of data sets within their application. Are you familiar? You've used ChatGPT before.
Yeah.
You can ask Chat about your company app, and it will tell you the data of your company app. Who's my most profitable employee? It'll tell you. What's my most profitable project? It'll
I can
tell
ask
you.
whatever.
Can you put together a schedule for me for this next
But
project?
that's because of your doing, right? Because of what you've built.
It's using our data.
Using their data. So we build a custom AI model for their data.
So now I don't have to, it's already easy to find the info, but I don't even have to deep dive.
You just ask it a question about your app.
It's pretty cool.
Because now ChatGPT, the big thing is building custom language models for your industry, for your company. That's like their big selling point, is build an AI model for your company. So it's a chat bot who gets to know the construction life, or gets to know Scelta, or gets to know Young Electric, right? Then it's a dedicated model to you and your company. So it's basically having a virtual assistant who has infinite brain power that'll tell you anything and everything about your app and your company.
Is it an advantage or disadvantage? If you got a future employee that wants to look into you, they can chat.
Or are you looking at it as that's an employer not paying?
True.
Now, is the Chat GPT a person that you would normally be paying a salary to?
No, I'm looking at it as an advantage. I'm
Yeah.
totally looking at it
Yeah.
as an advantage,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, if you have I go back to the slackers, right? If you've got a well-to-do tradesperson that wants to get into the industry, wants to work for a reputable company, they'll do their search and they can find out what your business is all about and how it's grown, I guess.
Right.
How it's handling and everything.
Yeah.
And then they'll have some great firepower to go into the interview going, listen, this is what I think I can be a contributor to your future, right?
Yep.
Which benefits you and them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can ask your language model, if you were to hire someone, who do I need right now and why? And it'll tell you, and it'll
Like,
give you a
what's my
job
weakness?
description. Now, these are private, though. Keep in mind, these are
course.
only for
Yeah,
Keith's
it's just
size
me.
only, or his management team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's there. Like it's that's impressive.
So part of our service that expanded was we were originally just building softwares. Then we realized a company asked us, they said, hey, Dave, do you mind just sitting in our office once a week and just adding new tech where we need it? And just looking at our processes, telling us where we're inefficient, and just installing new technology. We're like, at first I was like, I don't know if I want to sit. And then they're like, we'll pay you X for it a month as an implementation fee. You come once a week, and that's how we'll do it. And it was like, you know what? We'll do that. So then we started doing that for one company, then a second, then a third. And now we have these companies who are not only using our management software, but they're also using our implementation services to basically dissect their business and look at all their processes and where we can automate and connect different platforms. So from booking softwares to smart drawing softwares to AI language models to shared calendars to job boards to Sage accounting systems, everything is connected in your company nucleus, and then that's provided in your company playbook.
Have you gotten an American on board yet? American
No.
company? Just curious. You're going to have to change process to process, though, if you do.
And labor to labor.
I'm not kidding, man. You can't go down to the States and start saying process. They'll just look at you funny.
Right. The nice part too is you can still be as hands-on as you want to be too, right? Like I had that issue of I'm not going to just sit in this chair and let it run itself. Like I still
No, but you look at it as another tool that it
It's
can help you
yeah.
grow your business, whether you want to keep it where it's at right now,
Yeah.
but make it more efficient so then you're not being consumed by 60 plus hours a week
Exactly.
running your business. Your mindset is, and I've asked this on the show several times, how can these businesses become more efficient and cut half of their time that they're spending, and so that other half could be spent on personal matters, right?
Yeah.
Spending time with loved ones and everything like that, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's what it could do. But if you also want to grow, it has a potential to grow as well too.
It's digital, but there's still enough analog aspect to it that I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Right.
I know, trust me, I get where you're coming from, man. But it's like I'm only been intimidated by a little bit of stuff that you've been presenting here. Most of it I'm like, I get it. I totally understand where it's going.
And you will only pick the things you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
One thing too to think about from business valuation standpoint is assets are valuated. Your revenue is valuated. Your EBITDA is valuated. One thing that I feel like small business owners don't realize is your company processes and your digital implementation tools are assets as well to the company. For whoever was valuating your company, not only is going to evaluate you on your revenue, they're also going to evaluate you on the efficiency of the company if someone were to take it over. Is it a turnkey company? Is it a company that already has processes in place?
I love that you brought that
Or
up.
does it require cleanup?
I've always argued this point, man. I can't stand anybody that's in construction that thinks that once they're gone, the business is gone. And I'm
Right.
like, that's not reality. You
Right.
can grow it to a point where someone else will see interest in it, but if it doesn't have all these processes in place, whatever,
Yeah.
they're not going to be as interested in your business.
Yeah.
We're not going to understand it either.
Yeah, they won't
Yeah.
get it. But now you can if you wanted to
Right.
at that point, when you get to that point, right?
because a lot of the owners we meet, like Young Electric wouldn't necessarily be Young Electric without Keith in place. However, the processes that Keith
sorry, I'm fucking everybody else.
that Keith is putting into play now, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in 3 months, but over the course of the next 5-10 years.
No, I would say I wouldn't even give it that long. I mean, you could take over Young Electric now, and you could at least have all the information you need to keep the business alive.
It's true. It's very, very true.
Which, take that for what it is. That's good or bad. If someone thinks that's
so
a bad
mom
thing,
and pop contractor business,
They can-
sub-trade, whatever business, tradesperson's business,
Yeah.
whether it's with a family name or what have you, or your first name or whatever, it still has the potential to be an entity of force out there if it's set up correctly.
Yeah.
It'll be attracted to somebody else that's going to come into. I mean, when I started in the industry, I saw a lot of younger trades not interested in taking over other people's properties.
Yes.
We had this conversation.
But recently, I said the smarter move is to take over someone's property. I'm sorry. Why reinvent the whole wheel? Start from scratch. Listen to as many podcasts as you want, and try to get as many lessons learned before you. You're going to make these mistakes, but why not just dive right in and partner with somebody?
Yeah.
And if you're an employee or someone's coming in and you're a partner and you're like, can I be part of profit sharing? Can I
Yes.
and grow inside that business instead of you starting from scratch?
So my dad actually wrote a book called Hire Your Buyer,
Okay.
where it's about business valuation selling to the management, right? And Harvard Business Review actually came out with a course where rather than taking the consulting route or the big banking routes, buy a small business.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you can buy a small business and you can 10x the value with simple processes and tools in place. And I don't think people look at that very often as an avenue. But there are those mom and pop shops, the plumbing companies, the carpentry companies, the electricians that, will have to close up shop. Once they retire, they may just get face value for the company because they don't have the correct sales process in place.
Well, and they don't have real data to prove anything. Yeah, we got it.
Well, that's the selling feature.
Yeah, we have it. Where is
Yeah.
it? It's in a box.
We made this much. Here's the number.
Yeah.
Well, show me.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'll show you, but it's in a box, and I got to get the box, and then we got to find the folder, and then we got to do this, and then, sure.
Did you think that way, Keith, at the beginning when you started your business, that this could be consumed by somebody else?
No,
But now you're thinking that.
I don't think it. I mean, I'm in it for the long game, right? It's my passion, it's my love. But I would think of it more in an avenue if something happens to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Say, heaven forbid, there's something I can't work, I'm gone, whatever it is. Someone can jump on board and Young Electric can live on.
Continue.
Yeah, because
I think it's important.
Yeah.
I think it totally is important. Whether you leave because you want to leave and try something else, or unfortunately if something terrible happens, but it could still grow. It could still continue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can see everything that Young Electric's done. You could go back, you can look at previous, you could there's no info that you can't pull out of this app that's not going to be beneficial.
You want to evaluate my business? Look at my company software. You'll know everything you need to know.
And I mean, you can give them a statement. Yeah, this is how much money I made last year. Okay, cool. But if I can give you, this is how much money I made, these are all the jobs I made, here's digitally every job we did last year, you can click on any of them and see any info you want. I mean, that's got to be worth way more than just a statement at the end.
As a future interest in something,
Yeah.
I could care less about how much money you made last year or what your revenue was from the time you started a business to now.
Yeah.
I want to know about your employees and your business and your processes attached to everything. I want to know that, because then I'll look at it and go, like you said, 10x it. I can improve here. I can grow it here. Then I could take that number that you guys have created. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But what number I'm going to give it, that's another thing.
Totally.
That's where the value is, right?
Yeah.
Not only do you have the app, you also have the company playbook. So imagine there were a book written about your company.
Yeah.
And anybody
That's
who read
wicked.
that book would know about your company.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if, things don't seem to be going as they were, you have something to refer back to. Okay, this was our base. This is where we started. We need to get back to the roots of what we had in this book, because that's when things were good, right? Or if things aren't good, okay, we need to change this book. But you have a base to start with.
When I started as a project coordinator years back for the first time, they told me, all right, learn how to create a change order, learn how to make a PCO, learn how to make a budget.
Yeah.
So what I did was I always like to work on 2 monitors. So I keep one monitor open of making a change order, and then I keep one open where I just put together this rough template, and I used to call it, the company I worked at, their playbook. And as I was learning things on the first few months I was working there, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to write down all the steps it took me today to create a change order. And then I'm going to write down all the steps it took me today to create a purchase order. Write down all the steps it took me today to create a scope of work. And I just kept adding to that book, adding. Then 6 months later, I came to my boss at the time and put the book on his table. And I said, I think I wrote down 55 activities for, what we do at this company. And I think the next employee, the next project coordinator you hire would benefit from it. I wish I had this book. And now they still have that book to this day.
They're using it.
Yeah. So that's what struck the chord in my heart to create books for subcontractors as well.
I think we're going to get close to wrapping it up, but
Okay.
is there anything else that you want to share
I mean,
that we don't know yet?
this is a real life scenario. This is a client of ours in the calendar that they used to keep.
Everybody's like
You know?
that. Like, that's what it's like, right? And
Yeah.
if they want to think new tech, it's I guess it's not a piece of 2x4, right? They're actually using a whiteboard, right? And the unfortunate thing is if they pull out the Sharpie from their pocket, right? Because they use Sharpies on site.
Yeah.
We were talking on the way up here, and we came up with the phrase of "death to the whiteboard."
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Let's just get rid of the whiteboards, man.
And get rid of the cool kids with the glass whiteboards, right?
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. Magnetic ones, no.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I do want to go over pricing because I'm sure everyone's curious.
Yeah, no,
what does it
I'm
cost
curious
for all that,
myself, too,
right?
But I don't think it's crazy, but you share that. Definitely share with everybody. So if they're interested.
Yeah. So any interview is free. I love talking to contractors.
How far are you going? Like, I mean, I know that you're starting in your area, but how far are you going to go?
For an initial interview, if you are out of town beyond Southwestern Ontario, then we'll likely start online.
Okay.
If you happen to pull the trigger and we're going to be a client that you're going to be working with, I make a point to meet all the clients that I work with. So I'm more than happy to travel to meet those clients if we're going to be proceeding with that engagement together.
Okay.
I will meet with anyone once. I'm happy to talk about the contractor implementation technology we could do for your company, because after that interview is completed, my team and I can then introduce you to the digital adoption plan, see if you qualify for that. So that's step number 1, digital adoption plan, $15,000. You recoup that $15,000 in 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. We split that up into 2 payments, $7,500 to basically get the engagement started and start developing the digital adoption plan. The digital adoption plan is then completed. Upon completion, you pay that outstanding $7,500. Then you get that $15,000 back deposited into your account in that 6 to 8 week period. It takes us 7 days to put together the digital adoption plan, 7 days to put together the prototype. Now, the prototype is based on a per user fee, and we price it out based on the number of features you use. So a company like Young Electric, they have about 25 features, right? Versus a company that we just onboarded last week has 12. So it varies per user based on the number of features that you require for your company. Next is the implementation of the tech, right? So beyond the company software, the other items we were talking about, whether it be cleaning up your company's document storage, your lead tracker, your booking schedule, your company emails, anything along those tech implementation lines, that is a monthly engagement fee with your company. And that usually lasts about 3 to 6 months. We're usually able to completely transform your company in about 3 months, with the majority of the companies that we already have using that fee. Others like to keep us around for 6 months, right? They like to say, you know what, these 3 months have been great. Can you stay on with us for another 3 more months? Now, those fees are covered in the implementation loan. So between $50,000 and $100,000 that you get from the government, interest-free, no payments in the first year for 6 years.
Okay.
So at every step of the way, the only out-of-pocket costs you have are the user fees per user, but you use the digital adoption grant for the plan, use the implementation loan for the implementation of the technology, and that's our suite.
It's not a bad gig, man. Like, if you think about it, it's not bad at all.
No, from a business standpoint, the end user,
You're already
makes sense.
running a legitimate business. You're already running. You're not running it as efficiently as you should be.
Well, that per user cost, I firmly believe you're gonna pay for it on its own just by the efficiencies. Like, you're gonna make up that money.
Let alone the leads.
Yeah.
The more the work that's going to come in as a result.
Mm-hmm. So that's meeting number 1. Meeting number 2, you get your company playbook with everything we discussed in the first meeting, all the tech we plan to implement for you, along with timelines and key metrics so you know where your investment's going. Mm-hmm. Second, you get a software prototype completely branded to your company with the features that you've requested. And then 3, you'll get an implementation proposal, which will completely outline the tech that we'd like to implement over the 3 to 6 month engagement with you. And that's what you can expect in the second meeting.
It's good.
No, it's very good. I'm just quiet.
Yeah.
Usually I'm not quiet, but
coming from a business owner, I was an electrician, right? I didn't go to business school. I don't know all this business stuff, right?
you went to the business school of hard knocks, man.
And that's what it was. And then now having this information, I'm telling you, it changes your view on the business, and it's going to change. Like, I guarantee you, a company who can adopt this will grow their business.
There's no way it won't.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna grow.
And if you don't want to grow your business, that's fine. You can make your business more efficient.
Go back to the efficiency model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is what you will not have any more excuses. I don't have the time anymore, and I've dropped the ball here and I dropped the ball there, professionally, personally.
Yeah.
I think that you'll get rid of all that stuff, right? So that you're changing all the stereotypes with this is basically what you're doing, right? Which is great.
Mm-hmm. And when we go over key company metrics, it's not always about how much more business you've gained. It's more so about, are you at the same level of business, but are you more profitable? And are you happier? Are you saving more time? Is your team happier?
Is your team happier? That's
right?
To me, that was one of the most important ones.
Do we not always talk about that as you grow as a contractor and you get more experience, that you want to make more money for doing less work?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the general consensus when it comes to tradespeople. Like they don't, it seems like they're 60s and older and they're still doing the exact same thing, making the same amount of money and either economically growing the same way.
Yeah.
But if you have an opportunity to actually become a lot more efficient where you get older, more experience, and you spend less time, make more money.
Yeah.
That's the win-win.
This grows with you, right?
Yeah.
We may get to, Young Electric could get to 25 employees and we need to implement something else on the app. We know it's doable. It's not like, oh crap, we're getting to 25. I'm going to find something else. No, we're going to do the same thing. David, this is the problem. This is what we got to do. Off we go.
You haven't had a problem that you haven't solved yet.
No. And one thing that we're very proud of is the 11 companies we have on board. We've had no churn. We've kept, since day one, everyone that we had on board is still with us to this date. And we'd like to keep it that way. Because, I mean, me personally, I have personal relations with each individual client. I probably speak to each owner of the company at least once, if not twice a week. We'll go out for lunch. We'll do these things. And I want everybody who comes on my team to have that same relationship with the clients.
I love it, guys.
Cool.
Anything else you want to share before we do the 10 questions?
Nope.
No? That's it? Keith here, Keith Young from Young Electrical Services, www.youngelectricalservicesltd.ca, and reach him on his email at Keith at
youngelectricltd.ca.
That's it. There you go. I'm getting older, man. I can't see any of these. IG is Young Electric _, and he's on LinkedIn. He's on YouTube channel as well under Young Electrical Services. And David Mill here from Scelta, www.scelta.app. And the phone number is 226-387-6758 and DM at scelta.ca, and then it's scelta.app. Ready for this?
Let's do it.
Curious myself, man. What everyday sound brings you guys joy?
Ooh.
Weights clacking against one another.
I have to say my kids. Right?
What's your favorite beverage?
Espresso.
Yeah, I'm with espresso, 100%.
Least favorite tool? It's always interesting to ask a tech person that, because I'm not necessarily always talking about tools, construction tools. Could be anything in life, right?
I mean, this is controversial, but I would say Microsoft Suite.
Mine is, the sound of it is the worst, but it's efficient, is the oscillating tool. Can't stand the sound of it, but I love the tool.
You're Sparky, so you're electric, so you're either Red or Makita.
So, no.
Uh-oh. You're yellow?
Well, I was hardcore yellow. Recently, though, the Team Milwaukee's done a pretty good job at showing up to our shop and selling some stuff.
And they're good at that.
Yeah.
They're just taking the rule book out of all the crack dealers out there. It all works, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Milwaukee. They're all good.
Yeah.
Everybody's good. What turns you on creatively, guys?
The opportunity to grow business.
Collaboration.
What word or concept do you find overused?
Essentially. Can't stand that.
People do say
Essentially.
that. Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, technically, it's okay.
Favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What do you miss from your childhood? Oh, sorry. What is your favorite vehicle? Anything in the world?
1987 Ford Mustang.
The 5.0?
5.0, 5-speed.
Just before they started doing the retro redesign and not having its own unique identity, because the 5.0 still had its uniqueness, man.
I'll take a notchback or a hatchback. It don't matter. Either one's good.
Aston Martin DB9.
It's a nice one.
Tech and trade. You could tell the difference here.
This is a tough one. I try to figure out who would I choose between the two of them. That'd be a tough one. As funny as it is, I mean, they're both nice, but I'll keep that a secret. What do you guys miss from your childhood?
Eating at my Nona's house.
Lack of responsibility.
Yeah, food's always good. Doesn't matter what it was. Food's always good. If you could master a skill outside of your own expertise, what would it be? What's the next career going to be?
Could definitely be more handy around the house. I mean, I hire a lot of that stuff out, but
I don't know. I don't know if I'm fit for anything other than electrical.
Plumbing?
No, absolutely not. There's no chance of plumbing. No. I don't know.
Nothing else in the world?
Yeah. I don't know.
Can't think of anything?
dancing.
Maybe tech.
You're
I don't know.
contributing
I'm
already.
Catching on to this pretty good.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you guys like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
It's better to burn out than fade away.
You don't have to put any more pot lights in.
You got one big pot light up
Yeah,
there.
one big one.
That's it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
Really
you, man.
appreciate
Appreciate
the
it.
time
Thanks for
and the
having us.
education. And I love talking this kind of stuff. It's amazing. So I know we went a little bit longer than we normally do it, but totally cool. I appreciate it. So
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure. Thank you.
anybody can reach out to you on the emails, and anybody's got questions because you're a
Yeah,
user.
I mean, if they have questions
Totally
for the
reach
end
out,
user,
right?
I mean, absolutely, please reach out.
Okay, cool. That's it. Angelina, we're out of here.